gentlemen, welcome back to day 2 of the SI 2021 Qualifiers. I'm your desk host, Veli, and usually I introduce these guys, but Jesse, I'm going to give it to you this time. Introduce the desk and let everybody know how you're feeling right now.
So much pressure, dude.
Welcome
Come on.
to the show. I mean, here we are. That's Veli, the host. Jacob and I will be your analysts for the day, and we've got some really great games. I mean, today's the day where Disrupt and Altiora join in on the fun. They're looking to crush the dreams of a couple of CL teams. Jacob, are you excited as this?
I'm going to lose my job. Okay.
He's doing a better job than you are, man. You got to step your game up. No, I am looking forward to it. It's always nice when we get to see more teams injected into the bracket, and Disrupt and Altiora finally, after a good couple of weeks of waiting for SI qualifier results, now make their entrance into the foray. I'm excited, but I hope these guys are as ready as we are, because today is about to be tough all around.
You're not going to ask me how I'm doing today, Jesse?
All right, Veli, how's it going? How are you feeling on this fine Saturday?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day for some Rainbow Six Siege qualifier action, and I'm ready to jump into the action. But before we do, great job, Jesse, by the way, let's take a look at the schedule and see what exactly is happening today. If you happen to miss out on yesterday, you missed some amazing games. Beast Coast, they went ahead, they beat Ape, and they face off against Disrupt Gaming for the first series of the day. Then after that, it's a treat. We're going to have Rent Free, your CLNA champions, your Challenger League champions, in case you're not following Rainbow Six Siege like that. They're facing off against the Canada Division champions. This match right here is going to be special. It's going to be a banger, but not to overshadow what's happening first. But before we jump into the nitty-gritty as usual, let's hear a word from our sponsors. So looking at the bracket right here, Jesse, I threw you a fastball earlier on. Jacob, break down what's going on, man.
Oh, you want to give me the bracket? That's so kind of you. Yesterday, we saw Beast Coast face off against Ape. It was a pretty swift 2-0 clobbering, if I do say so myself. Second game of the day was Supersonics against Rent Free. That one went to relegation maximum. At a very minimum, it was 12 rounds required at the very least on all 3 maps, but Rent Free still pulled out the victory. And now both Disrupt and Altiora entered the fray. Both of them have had a lot of time to see what both Rent Free and Beast Coast are cooking up in these quals. Beast Coast came in through the open qualifier, whereas Rent Free came in as an auto invite for the second part of the open qualifier. So it's been a different road for both these teams thus far, but how they got here doesn't matter. Now they have to play in order to progress through this bracket.
Past celebrations of you winning, whatever, it doesn't matter now, because ultimately all these teams are going to be special. There's going to be one winner at the end of the day, Sunday, tomorrow, Championship Sunday. But for now, let's talk about the first matchup of the day. It's going to be Disrupt Gaming versus Beast Coast. And Jesse, looking at DG, Disrupt Gaming, we know them in the NAL. They have NJR, Rookie of the Year runner, right? So looking at this team, they have gunners. They can frag out. Yeah. They have a great team, but why aren't they winning like they should?
I mean, I think it's a difficult question, right? Because you absolutely hit the nail on the head. I think NJR, J9O are some of the most mechanically talented players we have in all of North America, not even just, the bottom half or what you say. Just a qualifier going back to a couple of weeks ago, we saw J9O go plus 31, an incredible stat line, NJR plus 6 on entry. Like, these players have what it takes. I think sometimes the nerves get to them a little bit. I think that maybe just due to the fact that they're not quite as experienced as a lot of the teams that we see and a lot of the players we see in the NAL, they're a little bit newer to the league. I think that being thrown into the deep end like they have does sort of hurt them. You see some rounds where maybe they're going to the bomb site 2v3 or they're going down with some sort of a disadvantage, and they struggle to really clutch up in those situations. And sometimes they tend to choke in those moments. So I'm hoping to see a little bit better of that. They're more experienced now. They're coming into this after a long break. So I'm hoping that they're in the right mental state, because if they can get that nailed down, these are some amazing
That's going to be a scary team. And first off, I want to give a shout out. We saw Red Q, the content guy, taking pictures. The content for this team, they're stepping it up. You love to see it. But Jacob, now, this team, they're good. they're the expected favorites on paper, and why is that?
Well, they're the only team from the US division that's actually in this qualifier. Only one of them got an auto invite spot because all the other teams that are currently in the Six Invitational from the US division, they're already there. Their spot's already secured. They don't need to make a qualifier run, yet Disrupt is somehow the only team still left standing from the US division that has not secured their spot yet. So, if only because the competition in the US division is far more, I guess, tight-knit, it's a lot more complex, and that is the pinnacle of Siege play in this region. These guys are the only team from that region that still have yet to qualify, so for that reason alone, they are considered the de facto favorites to win this entire thing, even if their placements in the North American League haven't really been that high. Doesn't matter. These guys still absolutely have what it takes.
You bring up a beautiful point for the fact that Disrupt Gaming, we look at this roster as a whole and we say, okay, they should be winning, like Jesse says, you know, what's going on? This is a true test. They have to show the world and everybody out there that they're way beyond what's in CL underneath them, such as Beast Coast. Now, not to say Beast Coast is not good enough to beat Disrupt Gaming, but Jesse, looking at this roster, let's break it down a little bit. We saw some pretty interesting aggression coming from this roster, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the aggression from Beast Coast can best be categorized as maybe picked carefully. You know, they definitely choose their moments well. On one hand, I think they play a really good defensive style when they're in that deep utility dump meta, when they can hide behind shields. They play that very smartly. They back off when they need to, and I think Beast Coast, you know, have a lot of skills in that area, but they're not afraid to get aggressive, and Ghost, who's on your screen right now, is one of those players we saw yesterday making some plays happen when he goes on that roam, similar to Sippin, the other player on this team that really likes to get aggressive on that roam. You know, they can make plays happen, and when they choose their moments correctly, which often they do, you know, they have really big impacts. It's not every round that you see these players running around like chickens with their heads cut off, okay? But it's a lot of the times that they do choose to go that path. They're finding results and they're helping their team.
I want to give a shout out to Ghost as well. Yesterday he popped off big on the Roman. I guess that's how you play when your wife is watching, right? But Jacob, Beast Coast, Disrupt Gaming. What does Beast Coast have to do in order to beat Disrupt Gaming, other than obviously win more rounds? When their playstyle has to step up?
Well, that aggressive playstyle that they brought out yesterday was a really nice thing to see. In Challenger League, that is often how they play, but they did kind of get shut down in a lot of moments and not have an opportunity to build up a streak. So Disrupt is a team of gunners that's been established for a really long time. The key to fighting a team of gunners is also to gun out, but in this case, you have to go all out. You need to go punch for punch, blow for blow against a team like Disrupt, because you are significantly punching higher above your weight. If you're Beast Coast, you need to prove that you can match that aggression just as effectively as DG does on the reg. Once you're able to get that momentum going, then you have more of a chance to beat a team like DG. However, if DG continues to punch over and over again, you have to go round for round. So if you keep it close, if it gets, I don't know, let's say within 2 rounds, if it's only a 2-round lead for DG, not the end of the world. If it's a 3-round lead, that becomes substantially harder to come back from.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Now, you guys know, I've said it before, the first part of the battle, or winning the battle, is picking the right map. So, Jesse, this is your area. The vetoes came through. Run us through why you think one of these teams are going to have an advantage with the current map pool.
All right, well, we'll see. We'll see what these maps look like as they roll on in. Consulate banned out first. That's a pretty standard ban. Theme Park gone, an interesting one from Beast Coast that is going to leave Clubhouse on the board, and there you go, Disrupt taking it for their very first pick. They were undefeated in Stage 2 right up until their last game against Space Station at the NAQ Grand Finals, where they lost it 8-7. Otherwise, they were very, very strong here. So good map for DG. Beast Coast, they did play this map against Rent Free. They only got 2 rounds in Challenger League. Then we head to Oregon, Beast Coast pick. They played Oregon in every single match since September. Beast Coast love going to this map. They just played it yesterday against Ape with an OT win. Not a bad scoreline at all. Disrupt, however, also pretty good. This was their best map of the fall. They went 3-0, a couple of close games in there, but overall a strong map for DG as well. And then Villa, man, for DG, this is their most played map ever. They've done some really creative stuff on Villa in the past, but they did lose to Space Station again in the NAQ Grand Finals. On the flip side, Beast Coast never played Villa before, so we got a lot of DG favored maps. I'm not saying that, you know, Beast Coast don't like these maps, but these might be like Disrupt's favorite 3 maps in the whole pool.
I was gonna say, when I saw Clubhouse pop up and DG picked it, I was like, why don't you ban this team? They own Clubhouse right now. We see what NJR does there. But before we jump into predictions, the fun stuff, I want to ask you guys just one quick favor. Please make sure you follow our Rainbow Six Siege esports social pages if you want to keep in, excuse me, stay in touch, watch highlights, or just be in the know of anything that's happening in the future in our universe that we live in. Now, the fun. Jacob, give it to me, man. Who's going to win this matchup?
Okay, well, Disrupt are the heavy favorites. Beast Coast have had a lot more games that they've had to play recently, though. So the question becomes, does that 2-month break that Disrupt has had since the November major qualifier, is that really that big of a deal? As far as I'm concerned, it's not. But Beast Coast so far have been putting up a pretty darn good fight. I will predict the winner and the scoreline. It should be DG, but I think Beast Coast wins at least one map. Disrupt 2-1.
Oh, that's some love, Jesse.
I'll get something.
Jesse, do you think it's gonna go the way of Disrupt like expected on paper, or do you think Beast Coast they actually have a chance?
I mean, it's nice for Jacob to give one map to Beast Coast. I think that's a swell thought. But frankly, the level of play we've seen from Disrupt, particularly in the most recent showing in the NAQ, is far above what we've ever seen from Beast Coast. It's possible that DG show up and they're just not playing the way that we know that they can, and they lose this one. But if I'm being honest, if Disrupt are playing their game, especially with this map pool, there's no way they should lose this game. I got to give it to Disrupt.
Disrupt. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, you guys at home have heard it. The players are locked in. The casters are ready. So, Blue and Stokes, do what you do best and take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Veli, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our first match of the day here as we continue on with the last chance qualifiers for North America here in SI 2020. Stokes is with me yet again, and we're just about ready to jump into Disrupt versus Beast Coast. Stokes, let's get your opening thoughts on this matchup.
Oh man, I think that we have an absolute barn burner on our hands, to be honest with you. You heard Jacob talking about what Beast Coast can possibly do up against the Titans of Disrupt. They've looked really strong inside of Stage 2, rounding out the end of the year. I honestly think this is Disrupt's game to lose, but I really do think that Beast Coast can put up a fight.
Well, as usual, we have our community poll question. We want to know what you guys think about a topic for this upcoming game. Be sure to follow us and submit your vote, more importantly, over on our socials at R6 Esports NA is where you can go ahead and follow along with that, and you can submit your vote specifically on our Twitter. We want to know, among both of these players who are each veterans on their rosters, meaning that they played on for either of these teams at some point during their career, which one is going to show up better today? Will it be Ghost currently playing for Beast Coast, or will it be Retro playing for Disrupt? Let us know over on the Twitter, and we'll have the results a little bit later on during the show. Now let's talk a little bit about this specific matchup. The most interesting point, I think, being the map pool and how potentially favored this could be for Disrupt and how much they like to play these three maps.
Yeah, potentially favor for DG, but potentially fatal for Beast Coast inside of these map picks. You guys heard Jesse talking about this over the analyst desk. I mean, a lot of these maps are drastically in the favor of Disrupt. Granted, Beast Coast does look really strong on Oregon, but Oregon is a staple of North American Siege. This is something that we go to almost as much as we do Clubhouse. So it's one of those maps where you expect a lot of these professional level teams to have some sort of an idea on how to play on these maps. I don't think that Disrupt is, going to go silently into the night when it comes to Oregon. This could be a 2-0 if Beast Coast mess around.
Yeah, Beast Coast specifically going right to Clubhouse to start out with is going to kind of lock the team's play styles into one where they may be able to kind of suss each other out relatively early on here, unless one of these two teams is going to be bringing something crazy to the table. That we will find out very, very soon, though, folks, as it is time to get into our first map. Like we said, Clubhouse is the battleground. So we'll be getting into it right now with our bans coming up in just a couple seconds here. So let's take a look at who these two teams want to ban out, and then we'll get into the action.
Lots of options here on the table for both of these teams, especially from the Beast Coast camp. I mean, Disrupt utilizes a lot of different things on Clubhouse. We've seen them, utilize Buck before here. There's just a bunch of different things that we've seen them, attack this map like. So for Beast Coast, I feel like, that's really opens the door to a lot of different bans here, but it seems as though we really want to stick to the hard breach bans this time around, even circumnavigating the Thatcher ban. That's something that we see happen all the time. Instead, we're down with Habana and Maverick.
I've seen that fallen out of grace and hard breachers becoming the primary ban point for a lot of these matches. Valkyrie is another very popular ban that's started to pop up more and more in recent months and is going to continue here today, as she'll be knocked out as our first defender, followed by Wamai, who has also been following up and kind of been rising in the ban trends as of late due to the recent changes, and with him kind of being the preferred pick, it seems, in a lot of situations now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be honestly pretty down the middle as for what, it's going to lean towards. Granted, it is Clubhouse, so obviously it's still going to lean towards the defense and them finding success. But that hard breach ban, especially with the Maverick ban coming in, is going to change a lot of things up. But I think Thatcher being left up will still open the door to a lot of walls being opened, especially when they can still run double hard breach like DG are doing right now. They're bringing Ace as well as that Thermite along for the ride.
Yeah, the biggest thing that's going to come out of this is trying to breach hatches is definitely going to be a little bit awkward with having to do it between Thermite and Ace. You could also bring the can openers for that too, keep in mind as well, if teams want to try and exercise that option. But considering, especially against a basement attack, often things like that are going to get tricked, it'll just make the whole process a little bit more awkward than what these teams might be used to. Either way, getting ourselves into the first round, we'll take a look, see if anything crazy is going to go on with the setup. We're up here at Cash and CCTV. The defender-sided meta, at least with regards to this side, has been pretty straightforward for a while, so personally, I'm not expecting to see anything insane, but we'll take a peek here.
Yeah, I don't think anything's going to change up too much. I mean, we've seen some adaptations downstairs inside of Garage as of late, but again, as you said, that's kind of been played out inside of Sage 2, where people started putting some bullet holes inside the soft wall for lounge and things like that, but, nothing too drastic that's changed recently. As for this lineup, though, I like that they've brought Rudy along for the ride here with the Bandit, just putting some Bandit tricking over towards the east wall here. This is always going to be the priority for the offense, and since they don't have a Maverick, this is going to be slightly safer than it is with Maverick on the board. He's still going to have to worry about the pressure from the CCTV window, so look to Rudy to really, make a big impact here. If he's able to get any of these hard breachers, utility destroyed, that could be a big game changer, especially when it comes to Disrupt taking Garage.
Let's take a look at the opening attempts here from Disrupt. Looks like they're going to go for balcony access before they actually try to get themselves into Garage, which will be an objective later on in the round here. Move in, they do spot the Bandit, both from the electricity surging through the walls and the drone, which they just sent in through the hole there. So they're going to have a pretty good idea of what this looks like. And even better than that, on a completely different part of the map downstairs here, NJR finds a great lineup through the blue window in order to find the opening pick against Anthony.
Very unfortunate rotation there for Anthony, but that leaves Disrupt with the lead-off kill here to start the day. So Anthony, first blood overall as we start things off here for North America. Impacts under to make sure Rudy can't impact. Concussions follow through, and I don't think he's got it on time. He needs to run away. Finally skirts back into Cash, able to keep himself alive and keep that Nitro Cell up as well. Beast Coast now getting closed in on with only a minute off the clock.
So the Bandit only able to delay for the first minute of the round. Rudy actually giving himself away there. Could have had the possibility for a kill, and he still does have it with this Nitro Cell that's sent soaring. Thankfully for Retro, he sees it from the drone that he had jumped on and is given just enough of an opportunity to back away from that one. Another missed opportunity there from Rudy. So unfortunate, as he was so close to finding success, but it's not going to happen this time. The good news is, though, is that now they know the presence is definitely going to be coming down that hatch at some point soon here. So both Rudy and I believe another player as well, Sippin, around the corner here, are going to be able to play aggressively in this part of the map, and it'll work out brilliantly. Rudy hops out the window, finds a free pick so far onto J90, and he's going to look for additional ones here in a minute, as well as the Logi push is coming his way at any moment.
Beast Coast getting in front of the Logi rotation, knowing that they need construction. Sippin takes down yet another, but has yet another foe inside of the logistical office. Reed's still alive and well, trying to see if he can find any targets, but everyone's already left the area. Beast Coast, once again, getting in front of that construction push. Very smart gameplay so far from them, just adapting when they needed to most and bringing this back to a winnable position. Disrupt not looking too solid right now, especially in the information department. This drone economy has been shot, all except for Reed and NJR having one remaining inside of his kit. They need to get this wall open and start prioritizing Cash to try and get this plant down. Rudy's going to take a ton of damage, then eventually dies to NJR. So now Cash Room is theirs for the taking. They still have to worry about the men on red, but he takes down Sippin. Looking for two now, but the adjustments in behind the shield. Wasn't exactly ready for it as Ghost catches him off guard. Fozo finally gets down, though. It's a 1 versus 2 with the M590 out. Ghost with a nice rotation, but he's taken down by NJR as well. That's going to be a triple kill for him on the round to start the day.
And NJR really the hero in this round as well, picking up so many crucial frags that were needed to bring their team back into the fold in the mid-round situations. Massive props to him for keeping Disrupt in front and allowing them to take the opening round. And now at 1-0 over their opponents here. Time to see how exactly Beast Coast is going to respond to that. Looks like it will be a reattempt on the same site, judging from the current pick. And I definitely think that's going to stick, given that we've got the Bandit play still in here for Rudy as well.
Excuse me.
You all right there? Well, we'll keep talking in the meantime here. Not going to be much with regards to the change-up here on the attacker lineup for reasons that should be obvious. They won, and overall, you don't need to change your attacker lineup as much. But we are going to 6-pick away from this Bandit, which I'm happy to see that, because the Bandit was having pretty mixed uses throughout the course of that one. In general, even like really good Bandits have been struggling to get much of anything off on that balcony wall. It just hasn't really been working in recent months, so I think that's going to be a pretty good choice in the long run here, because now we can just throw the mute jammers down on the ground, run away, and not really have to pay too much attention to it.
Only I would somehow find a way to choke on air. I don't even know how that happens. But either way, Beast Coast, they did a very good job of getting in front of the construction push, because they knew Disrupt, after getting that initial wall, would want to rotate to try and get some pressure on the cache, and that's where the plant was going to go down. But the issue is that they completely ignored the CCTV wall being open, and that's where all of NJR's kills came from. He continued to find impact from that flat area, and as long as Beast Coast doesn't have any pressure or someone that can possibly trade out that gunfight, you're more than likely going to fall into this trap 9 times out of 10, because just having that, that amount of firepower there and having it be ignored, you really can't move around the site safely how you want to. So Disrupt just ended up catching them off guard with that. It was a good back and forth overall in the round. I like that Beast Coast is going back upstairs, because I really do feel like they have a good opportunity here to actually, right the ship and win this round.
Close this one out, hopefully, before moving on towards a basement hold, more than likely what would follow up after this. The opener from Disrupt is going to look pretty similar on this round. We do have Shuttle already working his way over towards the Logi side there, maybe to open that up and possibly get inside a little bit quicker this time, when we consider just how aggressive the roam presence was from Beast Coast in that department on the previous round. And it's still there on this round, too. You can see Sippin way over there at the top left, but we'll come back to that in a moment, like we said, since we're not seeing a whole lot going on there just yet. They have managed to get the balcony wall open at pretty much the same exact time they got it open on the last round, though. Not going to be any resistance that would have come from it this time, of course, for the defense, since they only had the mute jammers. They just had to throw Thatcher EMP, and they're good to go, pretty much. Not going to expect anything else beyond that. Now it focuses over here, over towards this Logi push, because you can see the commitment of at least 2 drones here from Disrupt right now. They've got to try to figure out where Sippin is, because if they get tripped up by him again, that could be problematic for their execute.
I guess the good news for them right now is he's not playing anybody with a nitro cell. He could possibly apply some pressure that way, as Disruptor actually going to be handling things more on a horizontal front than a vertical front. They've already walked into construction. Retro prepared to get this wall open. He just needs some assistance so that somebody can hold his construction door so he can actually allocate his utility safely. That's exactly why Reed's coming in right now. So good stuff so far from Disrupt. Have not missed a beat at all. No damage dealt to anybody just yet, and they've already got all their utility down. There's really nothing that Beast Coast can do. They need to have a rotation of some sort come in now. Get this pressure on to Disrupt. Otherwise, this is more than likely going to be a free execute.
Yeah, they've got everything open. Construction, the balcony, they have all their angles. If they wanted to push for garage, they actually do have some time to try and do that too. So Disrupt could open up a lot for themselves here if they want to, but just the 2-pronged attack here in from both the balcony as well as construction should be well enough for most teams. Ghost, of course, is going to look to start denying this now that we're approaching that 30-second marker. He's going to begin to spam out this Toxic Babes. He's already gotten one onto the ground over by construction, but it is being done a little bit early, so eventually the time on these will run out and the team will have time to execute once they've all gone down. Anthony finds the first frag this time, however. He's going to be able to take down Shuttle. A second smoke denial comes in on the breach to try and stop this push from happening, and it seems to be working. Disrupt, very timid, does not want to take a risk on trying to go right in and find their own entries at this point, despite having everything open.
Was a much needed pick downstairs that keeps Anthony alive with that nitro cell, but it doesn't get too much. Some damage off onto Ghost for Disrupt, but now they have to try and force themselves into the building. It seems as though Beast Coast is good for it, but finally Retro and Reed fire back. Sippin trades things out though, as the case is starting to go down, but it's not going to matter. It's all left up to J9 outside on the balcony. Sippin with every single kill he can possibly muster for Beast Coast to keep this round safe and put that right in the back pocket. Great defensive round from them. Did not take that pressure lightly at all. Backed up at the proper moments and were able to keep themselves alive and inside of that round. Great stuff.
And almost the opposite problem there for Disrupt that time when we look at how that round played out for them. The previous round having access to pretty much everything they would have needed, and specifically NJR being able to use those soft walls deeper in the site in order to really punish the members of Beast Coast. Not only that, but also finding earlier picks in the area right below red stairs over by blue, as well as putting some pressure on the garage. Didn't really see a whole lot of that going into this second attempt there. So the back line of the defense never really was pressured, and they were able to focus entirely on just fending off that construction push.
Yeah, they really wanted to go for the plant inside of, the cache area, and that's why once they finally got that wall open inside of construction, we saw Shuttle rotate down to stock to try and take out Anthony playing downstairs with the Nitro cell, but that didn't work out for him. Anthony ended up winning the gunfight, and obviously that puts Disrupt down a man, as well as not having any pressure downstairs to save themselves if they did want to try and go for that plant in that instance. So it was simply just one box that had not been checked, and as they try and go for the execute and get some pressure onto the backline like you were talking about, they just couldn't out gunfight the Alda. That happens quite a few times, and that's why he's one of the best anchors in the entire game.
All right, so Beastcoast switching it up now after their first successful defense. They'll move into the basement here. We are going to see some interesting stuff in the fact that the Mira is coming into play here. Not something that we always get to see, but it is nice when it's added, as it gives a lot of extra benefits to the defenders here. Rudy, you can see setting himself up on the inside of Church with a nice potential to swing onto main stairs and potentially into Moto a little bit there too. And then away from that, the second window, giving them free vision into blue, which could potentially fend off a direct push from that direction as well.
Yeah, lots of solid things going on here. We don't see Mira utilized too much anymore. But, as she's been working her way back into the meta, not like she exactly has been out of it, we've been seeing a lot of teams utilize her more for setups like this, where you're able to get vision towards these main stair areas, as well as this blue setup like you were talking about. Really like what we're seeing here with the Goyo shield to try and assist for Dirt as well, and an ADS at Anthony's feet. So lots of things going on over on this end of the map. Most of it just set up to try and help Sippin and, what's going to be going on over here inside of the blue area. The secret stairs are usually a highway for players to try and force themselves down. So any assistance at all with that is definitely going to be needed, but seems as though he can't exactly help him with that, as the shot is sent Sippin's way and he makes sure to catch it with his face.
Good opener from Disrupt yet again. Now let's see how they try to follow it up a little bit more here, as NJR once again on the front foot, trying to move his team down to the bottom of blue. See what kind of support he's going to get later on. Form of any other players that might be able to pick up the entries here. That'll be Moto Hatch opened up now by Retro, and I imagine they're going to look to try and do Kitchen in a moment if they haven't already done so. Shuttle, of course, dealing with the soft destruction around that hatch to make sure that anybody on the inside of Arsenal isn't going to be able to mess around with them as well here. Third charge going to go off right after that one, too. We are going to see an exchange, I believe, somewhere towards the main stairs is where those two players go down, but I might be wrong about that. No, it's blue instead, excuse me, as we end up seeing Sippin get knocked out, but NJR also falls there.
Looks like a graveyard over near blue right now, but it seems as though we're going to start getting some engagements over near the main stairs. Already some soft destruction done inside the kitchen. Now have hatch open as well for Disrupt. They've got the ball rolling. Really, they just need to try and force themselves into sight. That's what the intel game's going to be used for here with the drones, to try and find out the spots of Anthony as well as Fozo. Once that's done, execute's more than likely on its way. They still have smoke grenades to support that in J9's pocket. So lots of things here that they have, lots of possibilities to take, but this is looking like the most likely one. The only thing that they're going to have to worry about, though, is the possibility of those yokai drones still existing on site. Granted, Echo has recently been nerfed, so the invisibility isn't there any longer, but he's still a nuisance nonetheless.
Gonna be able to spot out the preset drone sitting in the back of Arsenal. That has actually allowed, I believe, quite a few members of Disrupt to pick off some pretty serious damage onto the Beast Coast members. That's now going to allow them to get some pretty easy kills that we're seeing J9 pick up. That's Anthony and Fozo go down. Rudy's literally at 1 HP, so he's gonna have to try his best to remain obscured here. It's not going to be an easy task, though, as he works his way down main hole, but that's also a great first shot to start out the clutch. Won't take him any further than that, though, as J9O gets his third on the round, and Disrupt take round 3 overall.
So it seemed as though the hatch drop really wasn't the play just yet. They'd much rather push J9 down dirt and just have him wipe the entire team. Doesn't seem like they were exactly ready for anyone to make that rotation, as he catches them off guard and finds a few frags to truly blow the site wide open. Disrupt up 2 rounds now. So some solid stuff from them. Great map control overall, but for Beast Coast, it seemed as though they wanted to die on the hill inside of blue, and that really didn't work out too well for them. They ended up trading out at a negative side, and obviously Disrupt staying on top of that man count, but Beast Coast never finding their way back into that round truly. They couldn't get any of the picks on the hatches that they really needed, and then all of a sudden we see Disrupt, get the kitchen hatch open, start getting picks down low, and then go for that rotation into dirt. So they just worked the map extremely well, used that verticality to get rid of a lot of the defensive utility, especially inside of the long hallway. There was just a lot of good things there for Disrupt. Beast Coast didn't obviously have a chance to really fight back. There was no real good use for, any nitro cells or anything from Rudy, or anything of the sort. It just was really not the best defense to play into what Disrupt's plan was.
The other thing that was happening quite a bit there too was so much free damage coming from Disrupt on the top-down play as well. That might have kind of influenced why we saw such a forward play from J9O towards the end of the round, because they already had two of those players down at sub 25 HP, and I'm pretty sure they knew that as well, because quite a few of those were happening within vision. They weren't just random shots that managed to hit or anything like that. So already had a good amount of confidence in their push built up towards the end of the round there, as Beast Coast sadly just couldn't find any safe harbor to play from, and we're constantly getting picked one by one due to those top-down angles.
Yeah, and that's a big problem with the basement site here on Clubhouse, especially with a team, you know, as strong as Disrupt. They're very, very good at their map control. They're not going to allow you to rotate up any of the staircases. They close all of those down and cinch them tight. They don't want you trying to make rotations. You need to stay downstairs and try and gunfight them from a different way. But that's the biggest problem for Beast Coast. Like we were talking about, they really couldn't get any pressure upstairs. Disrupt's getting a massive amount of damage off through all of that verticality. There's nothing really that Beast Coast can do besides try and use some nitro cells or something along those lines to fight back. They need to force Disrupt into a decision-making section to where they can possibly, you know, make a bad decision, either drop the hatch or something along those lines. They need them to make a mistake in that instance, and it just seemed as though Disrupt was not really opt to do so.
Well, no reinforcement on the blue hatch, so that's going to get broken relatively quickly here as Disrupt moves over top of it now. Also going to have a player begin to lurk downstairs, but probably won't see any action for some time. Still very early days on the timer here, of course. Aside from that, still a lot more prep work to be done, both in terms of hatch breaching and soft destruction setup, between Shuttle and Retro, as well as J9 here. So definitely a bit more work to be done, but everything pretty much going as it did in the previous round right now. Without any real roam game from Beast Coast, it's going to continue to play out that way until we get to the next 20 or 30 seconds here when Disrupt actually start pushing down the stairs.
Well, the good news for Disrupt is that they're getting a lot of intel on site. This is going to be the exact same setup for Beast Coast, except they're not playing nearly as aggressive inside of blue. Instead, Sippin's now sitting behind the mirror window that they have set up to look inside of blue. He doesn't want to play inside of there because of that pick from last time, so we'll see if that adjustment will help them out at all. But as of right now, Disrupt's already getting quite a bit of not only utility damage off, but actual damage off onto these defensive members. Anthony taking more than half of his HP in Goyo damage.
That animation time is killer, quite literally, in some of these situations there, and the fumble time of him having to go in and out of the camera after seeing it explode costs him dearly, as Stokes was just mentioning there. But at the same time, the incredibly passive play from Beast Coast is kind of working right now, because they haven't shown face against Disrupt, and Disrupt doesn't really seem to know how to respond to that other than just continue to wait down the timer, hope for something, and then probably in about 5 or 10 seconds here, just go for it, because they don't have any other choice. We're down to the last 20 seconds, and there's been very little combat within this round. These teams have barely even looked at each other throughout the previous 2 minutes. That's all going to change now, though, as NJR moves in quickly, looking to blow this entire site up, and he's done it so far. Him and J9 picking up frags left and right. Isn't enough for their plan. Looks like it's going to be, as Retro gets it down on the ground, and Shuttle follows up with the final kill just after that. Disrupt take round number 4.
NJR is inside the playbook, John. That guy is reading them all over the field, cutting off rotations left, right, and center. What a great round from Disrupt. Load time execute there, up 5v5, but still able to close things out. Really off the back of NJR's efforts once again. He really does seem to be the spearhead for this team to try and make some magic happen on offense. So that round overall, though, it really seemed as though Beast Coast were able to stay in it down to those last couple of seconds. I really like the patience there. It was simply put, they just were not ready for somebody to be pushing down blue. They like, NJR walks down, takes a gunfight, wall bangs another guy, and then just waits for the rotation in through church, because he knows that somebody has to try and force him out of there, or try and get some pressure on the back end of Armory. So, you know, great decision making by NJR, but for Beast Coast, they have to be expecting that, especially in a 5v5 scenario. They have the bodies to spare to have somebody push secret stairs. So to not be waiting for that really does suck for Beast Coast, just because that more than likely is the game changer there for them to win the round. But they don't want to head back downstairs to basement. Instead, we're headed upstairs to Master. But the main problem is right now, John, we've already went through the bans. We've already talked about how we think this is going to lean per side. There's 2 hard destructors banned right now for Disrupt. Granted, that makes it to where Thatcher is open, which could obviously lead to the offense having a little bit of an easier time, but Maverick on Clubhouse is almost unparalleled in what he can possibly do. So yeah. Disrupt's up 3 rounds right now. what does Beast Coast do to try and come back from this? They're already being put in a very terrible spot.
I mean, first thing I would do is avoid the basement play, because the weakest aspect that I've seen so far from Beast Coast has been the more passive styling from them. Other than when they barely got touched on their backline when they actually won the cash site a couple rounds back. But that, again, like I said, that was like an optimal situation where their backline was barely getting touched throughout the course of that round. If they're going to get messed with in these sorts of situations, I think they need to pick up the roam game a little bit more and try to play on these offsites with that, because round one we saw great usage of that, great follow-up in their capability to kind of, you know, corral the Disrupt players. It didn't pan out at the end of the round, but there's definitely a lot there that I think they can build on if they try to lean in on it more. It just doesn't play too well into Clubhouse as a map is the problem. So they're in a really tough position overall right now in terms of trying to get ahead of Disrupt.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it's a good lead off, and they definitely have strong beginnings if they do go for that, but they could run into some implications on the back end that could obviously run amok.
It's only going to work on like 1 or 2 sites is the problem on this map. And as soon as they have to go back to basement, they're still looking at the same problem. So it's definitely a complex issue right now for Beast Coast and what they need to try and do, because there's a lot of things going wrong. Like even just, I think they're underestimating the intel game from Disrupt a little bit here and how they're remaining so stalwart in their positions like we saw at the end of the last round. They probably thought, guys, it's like 15 seconds, they haven't touched this yet, we got this. Then all of a sudden, you know, NJR runs in from the back line and mows them all down.
Well, we'll have to see if that continues to be the case. Could possibly have that in this round as well, as Disrupt has taken their sweet time, but that doesn't mean that they haven't made any progress. They've already got the single panel open inside of construction, as well as the wall open for CCTV. J9's got garage control as well, so they're pushing back on this cash hold. Another Selma charge onto the double panel here. Try and get this mirror window open, but actually he's just going to open beside it, which could actually play into Fozo's hand as he's looking for the man on rappel. He's going to walk up, but oh no, is Fozo actually going to die here? He does. Reed gets him. What a shot and what a read from him. That was some amazing stuff, but now Sippin's got an engagement at the bottom of cash. Oh, it's all hands on deck for Disrupt as Sippin is dismantling everyone, but finally gets taken down. J9 quick on that one, but still has to worry about someone inside of cash. Looks as though NJR and the rest of GG could have possibly cleared this out already. Yeah, actually, Beast Coast members already being pushed back, so they have construction control as well, pushing these BC members all the way back into sight.
Still going to be some direct contention coming up against mainly Rudy, who's way over here in Logia right now. With 20 seconds remaining here, the focus has got to be on getting that case down on the ground and countering this quickly. There we go. The job is done, but at the same time, 12 seconds remaining here. Trying to get the plant going for them, but that, in fact, that's not even going to be needed, as J9 is able to clean up the remaining players and Disrupt pick up another very quick round for themselves here. As they get number 5 with an overall score of 4-1 now.
Very intriguing. Very intriguing indeed. I like what we're seeing from Disrupt today. This is probably the most synchronized I've seen them since we've, you know, watched them inside of stage 2. And it's not the fact that they weren't exactly, you know, on the same page previously. It's just that right now, when there's decisions being made, when it hits that time, right, and everything gets that lull moment, they're all on the same page when it comes to the next step. And that's really where DG are beating BC out. Disrupt are simply executing together and have the same game plan. Therefore, they're able to kind of just bowl over Beast Coast. There's more bodies there. They're more dedicated to what they're doing. They know the areas of the map that they need to clean out, and they're not scared to trade bodies for it. That's the biggest deal inside of Rainbow Six. A lot of the times people get caught up on how things need to be perfect. Oh, we have to do this, and, you know, no one should die, and we need all of this. You know, sometimes when it comes to map control, you truly have to trade things out. That's what the job comes in for, like, you know, Shuttle and NJR with trades and things like that. We've seen a lot of really good entries from them, but not only that, we've also seen those followed up with fantastic trades throughout this entire map so far. And I think that's where Disrupt are simply beating out Beast Coast. A lot of these Beast Coast members are having to take multiple gunfights and don't necessarily have someone next to them to be able to trade them out.
All right, guys, well, moving into round number 6 here. Last one of the half. Last chance for Beast Coast to make an impact on their defensive side. They're going to be trying something interesting from the looks of it here, as I know we set Simpin, or dang it, Sippin up on the inside. I'm sorry, on the inside of security. No, and it's not just him either. It's going to be him and Ghost. So this is not normal at all for what you would generally see on a basement site play. So this is going to be interesting to see how the roam game works out, because it usually either plays really well into the team strategy or really poorly because they're so far away from the site and they have to go on this. What is happening now, I think, is this massive rotate back downstairs.
Well, We'll have to possibly see if they go for this. And Sippin, as you were saying, already taken a large amount of damage, but it seems as though Disrupt's already planned for this. There's a couple of ways that you can handle the SSG roam, and this is definitely one of them. Just start to force yourself downstairs and possibly get a pick here. NJR's worked his way in. They don't necessarily know that anyone's inside of blue, and it seems as though this is going to be the downfall of all of them once again. Rudy, inside of dirt, has a possibility to shut down the dirt push here by the one member of Disrupt, but this is mostly centralized around blue. It's going to be him up against J9 again, but oh no, the shot's all going wide. Finally shuts down Retro, actually, instead. Read my silhouettes wrong there for just a split second, but damage going off on the other side of the map now as well. It seems as though they know someone's in blue. The jig is up. NJR is going to take a ton of damage, but not enough to down him. Ghost with the calls back should be making sure that these Beast Coast members are rotating back to site, but this is where things are going to get extremely funky. I mean, there's only a couple of ways in which this can go, but the main issue now is there's not really any reinforcements for either of them to play around, all except for the AC unit inside of blue. So this can truly go either way. It just depends on who wins this initial lead-off gunfight. Reed actually going to take down Anthony on the other side of the map as he begins to push inside of dirt, but actually ends up getting taken down by Rudy instead, who goes for the double kill now, keeping that dirt tunnel locked down. And for Disrupt, this is all of a sudden became a one-sided attack.
50 seconds to make it work, though, so plenty of time for Disrupt to course correct if the need should arise. But either way, East Coast holding on, trying to once again play this in a passive fashion to bring it down and drain out those final 35 seconds here. They've got good setups for it, but at the same time, Disrupt has been able to wiggle their way out of this situation more than once already. It's time to see if they can do it again with those final 30 seconds now approaching. We can see the pressure getting ready to boil out from blue into Arsenal. Is Fozo ready for the challenge? Well, Rudy certainly is, but Fozo not so much. He gets taken down by Shuttle. The good news is the other two teammates have taken out the blue push in its entirety. Everything falls to Shuttle now, who moved in from main stairs, but he also gets the free pick onto Rudy. Finds him just over in the corner of dirt. All he's got to do is lock down Ghost, who's now just trying to play to the M590 on the inside of Moto. Shuttle sees him. Can he catch up with him in time? There's the swing, but it's Ghost who wins it, and Beast Coast who takes round 6.
The M590 rings true, and it ends up getting Beast Coast another round. Great plays from Rudy there, but it was Ghost to seal the deal. So Beast Coast can actually stay in this. 4-2 in favor of Disrupt on their offensive side as they'll be moving on over to defense now. That might be too little too late for BC, though. I like that they finally went for the roam game, and John, you were completely correct. It wasted enough time, as well as put DG in a bad enough spot when it came to their initial entry points, that they really didn't have a chance to actually work their way onto site. Granted, it did get down to the 2 versus 1, but even then, they were still mostly, dying around the blue area as well as off site. That dirt area, especially for Rudy, becoming an entire graveyard. So some really, really strong stuff from the defense there. Finally able to put a round on the board downstairs. That's a really, really big thing, especially after the last 2 basement rounds that we saw.
Well, guys, we do want to remind you that the SI Battle Pass is now available in-game. Be sure to go ahead and check it out. There's a lot of benefits available this year for the SI Battle Pass, 100 tiers this time around, and as well as up to 134 rewards. On top of all of that, all sales of the SI Battle Pass will go to support the SI prize pool.
Yeah, if you guys could please go out there and get that, we would all greatly appreciate it. I got to pay bills too, man. That's just how it is, and it would definitely
we benefit from the prize pool.
No, we don't.
About to say, I wasn't aware of how this works.
Listen, man, I'm just making silly
I'm about to start selling a lot more of these bad boys. It's gonna be like candy bars and the Boy Scouts all over again.
I was gonna say you're gonna be the Jehovah's Witness for the SI Battle Pass. Have you guys heard about our Lord and Savior, the SI Battle Pass? Buy it today on the Ubisoft store and support all of our esports organizations that happen to win at SI.
Definitely do it, guys. Let's take a look at this round, though. Disrupt now on the defense and Beast Coast on the attack. Anthony already moving himself in pretty aggressively here to start things out, but the good news is it is a basement hold, so not much to be expected here in terms of the roam game. It's going to be pretty clear throughout this first floor, and I believe the second floor as well, since Disrupt does appear to be going for that turtle setup.
Yeah, slow beginnings for both of these squads right now. Beast Coast just getting traditional mid-floor control. This is exactly what you would expect. Nothing out of the ordinary. So just working on getting the default cams all shot out, as well as these hatches open. See what the hard destruction's looking like for their offensive setup, and it seems like they're going to be following suit almost to a T here. Thatcher in, Sledge in, Zofia in, and there are 2 hard destructors. So it seems as though they want Ghost on the Sledge for obviously that verticality. They don't want to bring Ashe here, which she can definitely work now. That's the big change up with Ashe. She doesn't have stun grenades anymore as a secondary, so a lot of people are favoring those breaching charges, and she also has 3 breaching rounds inside of her kit now. So that's a lot of soft destruction that can be utilized almost like a Sledge. Granted, he does have a little bit more utility inside of that hammer, and it's just a touch safer at points in time when she does run out of those breaching rounds to utilize, but most of those are going to be used on those explosive utility pieces that you need those for on the defensive end. So we'll have to see how they try and utilize that, but this is more than likely going to be a pretty straightforward attack for them to sledge up the floor inside of kitchen, get this hatch open, and then start trying to get some of these picks onto these DG members.
Well, most of the round having already gone by, the pressure is going to start to boil up here for Beast Coast as we enter that last minute. No opening on the kitchen hatches if you had still preset C4s trying to trip them up as well here. So a lot the Beast Coast have to work against, and Disrupt, similarly to how Beast Coast played their own defenses, hasn't even really been touched here. It hasn't been doing too much to respond to Beast Coast's own prodding that's been going on throughout this round either, though that's going to change here. Fozo dodging bullets like Neo, it looks like, there for a moment as he's able to keep himself out of a bad situation. NJR elsewhere will be able to line up that nitro, so that might have been the preset one on the roof as well. It takes him out, but meanwhile, stop myself here, Rudy and Sippin and Anthony all picking up kills. All of a sudden, just in a span of 2 to 3 seconds, literally the entire roster except for Shuttle on Disrupt is now down on the ground. Shuttle's gonna make a comeback attempt at this. He's downed 1 and taken out another, so he's not out of this round yet either, that's for sure. And now he's gonna try to pull off the 1v2. The nitro almost lined up against Ghost, but it's just a little bit off. It's only going to deal about 1/3 of his HP instead. He's desperately on the hunt for Rudy, but he can't get the job done. Rudy shuts it down from inside of Church, and out of nowhere, Beast Coast takes that round.
The fragmite from Rudy, he's the first one in the door, and he wipes clean the entire defense of Disrupt. Some great stuff here from Beast Coast. I was just about to talk about how it really didn't seem like they had too much pressure on the kitchen side, but apparently that was never the plan to begin with. They would much rather force the opposition, or, you know, force their point in through Moto, which worked out with flying colors. I really didn't see that one coming. There were still some impacts on the Maestro player for DG, so I assumed they were going to be able to keep that hatch locked down, and they would have to try and transition over to a church take later, but that was never the plan to begin with. So some great stuff for Beast Coast. Great entry from the Thermite, as that's the last person you expect to be the first one inside.
So Disrupt's lead will grow to be quite fragile here now as they move themselves further into the half. Of course, this is the defensive side of Clubhouse, so we expect the defenders to be able to excel, and I personally expected this 4-2 lead to be a massive boon for Disrupt. That may not end up being the case here. Beast Coast getting themselves off to a promising start in round number 7. Really going to look to solidify that with a potential tie here at round 8 if they can take the CCTV and cash attack as well.
Well, this bodes well for Beast Coast for the rest of the series. Honestly, that was the big question mark for a lot of us here, was how is Beast Coast going to perform up against Disrupt? Obviously, Disrupt undefeated on Clubhouse inside of Stage 2. They're a fantastic team when it comes to club. Their defenses are extremely strong. So for Beast Coast to not only get a plant down, but also get a round off here right off rip, that's a really, really big deal for them. And that sets pace for the rest of Clubhouse and into the future of this series. Disrupt is going to have to respect them when it comes to what they're capable of.
So early on here, Beast Coast probably going to move pretty quickly to try to open up the balcony wall. Already see Fozo in position for it. Gonna have to check out Shuttle first before attempting that, otherwise they'll risk losing one of their Selmas here. And I believe they have brought, yes indeed, the double hard breach once again between Fozo and Rudy, of course, as he's returned on the Fragmite, it seems. So they'll have the backup opportunity there to open it up as well, should the Selmas fail on the initial attempt here. Because like we said, we do have Shuttle on the Bandit sitting on the other side, but they're very well aware of that.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Well, we'll see if Shuttle can possibly get a bandit trick off here. Slow beginnings for Beast Coast, as they haven't gotten the CCTV wall open just yet, but that is the main priority. Shuttle's going to back up, so this should be pretty free for Beast Coast to get open. Going to be going for the left panel here instead, it appears. So we'll see how that possibly works out for them. Actually going to go for both. Fozo going to pop a Selma charge on there for good measure as well. Does this transition into a construction take? That's a big question.
Either way, they're going to be able to get a massive breach going for themselves onto the inside of balcony. And like you said, now It's time to see what the follow-up plan is going to be from Beast Coast. It does look like quite a bit of pressure is actually shifting over towards Garage right now, so that may actually be the next objective for these guys, is to pinch both the Breach and the Garage stair push if they're able to get rid of Reed appropriately. But Reed's on the smoke holding this right now, still has all 3 of his charges too, so he can easily fend off some of these more aggressive pushers into Garage for at least a period of about 30 seconds if he chooses to chain all 3 of them together.
Yep, using those toxic smokes early, but as a smoke player, you'd rather die with no smokes than having 3 inside of your pocket. So Reed's only going to be able to get 1 off those, so kind of a sad day for him. And that's also garage control for Beast Coast. That makes it to where a CCTV plant is entirely possible. They do have some nitro cells to be able to stop this, and quite a few inside of this artillery cache here. I mean, oh my, 3 of them sitting in the pockets of DG members. So looks as though Disrupt really want to try and play for this plant. You can see they've already centralized around red stairs as well as cash, and now they want to try and go for these picks. Retro with the leadoff kill for them takes down Ghost. Pay attention to Rudy though. This is where that case could be possibly coming in. He's going to take a ton of damage, but he takes down Retro following suit with Sippin. NJR gets taken down downstairs, but the nitro still goes off. Diffuser now down behind the CCTV server stack, but it's going to get picked up by Anthony. He's more than likely going to begin the plant soon, as it's only J9 that remains for Disrupt. He doesn't have very many options anymore, but he decides to sprint out. He gets 1, he's looking for 2, and he gets it as well. Can he possibly get the 3rd? Lights up, Sippin' pistol in hands. Oh my god, J90, that is insanity.
The individual plays continue to bring out the wins for Disrupt, and this round's no different as J90 comes out of absolutely nowhere with a massive 1v3 clutch to shut that one down. Beast Coast looks so promising at every other point before that within the round, setting themselves up for their execute, dealing with all of the potential issues that would have popped up on the said execute, and even following it through, but they lose the kit, they lose themselves the case, and it's a fumble to try to get it back and try to plan it in time, and that's when the clutch potential reopens up for Disrupt and allows that 1v3 to go down.
That was truly, truly insane from J90. He just said, bring me my money. That's all he said. Make sure you're paying that man well, Disrupt, because that's exactly what you need to be paying some good money for. That was some insane gameplay from him. Disrupt, though, up another round, 5-3 right now in their favor, and that's just, you know, what am I trying to say here? That's just like the run of luck that you have up against Disrupt, or what you need to be aware of is at any moment in time, any of these players can pop off. I mean, every single one of these guys not only has a fantastic shot, but their game sense is just something truly, truly incredible. NJR has proven it time and time again already inside of this one map that he's not to be slighted. Neither are any of these players. We've seen Shuttle do it before, Retro do it before. All of this entire roster is just one big clutch potential. So you need to really be paying attention to what can possibly happen with that and try and set up for those trades. That's really where Beast Coast ran into that issue. They had the Overwatch outside, but for Disrupt and specifically J90, there was only one option, John, and it was to win. He had to swing something there. The case is going down. It's a makeshift 2 versus 1 in that instance. He's able to get the kill on Plat, leads it right into the kill on Bomb Chassis, and then he already knows where the last member is more than likely going to be coming from because of that kill downstairs onto the Goyo player. So he has the good intel, knows he's more than likely going to push red or the garage stairs. He has to make a 50-50 decision, and he ends up winning the round because of it. Some great stuff from J9, some great stuff from Disrupt, and can possibly be some more great stuff, but no, just some damage off onto Anthony instead. Disrupt are feeling themselves right now.
By the way, NJR going to give himself a bit of respect here on the main stairs, backs away, is going to play into the inside of Master instead here, should the push come through from Beast Coast. Away from that, though, this is a pretty heavily committed roam game. Mind you, we're on a basement defense right now, not a second floor defense, so we did see a little bit of this from Beast Coast as well towards the end of the half, but unfortunately did not pan out the way that they would have liked, as those players did have to quickly start to fall back to the site. We'll see if it's going to be the same fate for Disrupt's roam game, as you've got NJR as well as Shuttle sitting up here looking to do the same exact thing, and so far it's working. Beast Coast are kind of respecting it and are seemingly trying to clear it, or at least figure out where it is so that they can contain this roam game.
Well, it seems as though Beast Coast still want to try and handle the map like they regularly would. They've centralized though around the west side of the map, so they're just going to go for a west to east clear here, but that also means that they've given Disrupt control of not only the top floor but also the east side of the building. This is going to be a long delay here for Disrupt unless Beast Coast is try and force something through this kitchen hatch as well as dirt. That could be a really big option here for them to possibly try and get downstairs, just get in the faces of these anchors and force a rotation from Disrupt. But the issue is now though is if Disrupt makes her presence known on this roam game, that could be the difference maker that wins them this round.
Still a little bit of drone game to be played out here by Beast Coast, and they've got quite the excess number of drones in order to get that done. So they're trying to use at least some of this very limited remaining time in order to try and gather that. But at the same time, once more, they've got to be respectful of these players that are still out and about for Disrupt. Those players need to know the timing with which they need to commit to this crunch, though. That's where this could turn back the other way and turn into a favor for Beast Coast here if they don't get themselves back to the site quickly enough. Because now we're starting to see the execute move through. Rudy starts us off yet again. No surprise there. This man's been firing off on all cylinders within this half. He'll find the first kill. Anthony will get traded, though, and now we're sub 10 seconds. Rudy and Bozo both go down. Sippin gets himself 2, however, so all of a sudden it's a 2v1. Retro, the only player left alive. He's got to try to deny the plan if he wants to win it right now, but he can't find out where it's going down at. Even worse, misses the position from Ghost, so he'll shut it down, and Beast Coast will take the round.
Can we just give Rudy a different operator? I mean, this guy is just killing everybody, man. Get him off the hard, man. Get him off the hard destructor. Give him a good gun. Like, this guy's doing this with the 5.56. He can do any of this with an R4C.
At least put him on the ace so that he can use the AK.
Oh my God, this is insanity right now. They're entry players. They're hard destructor, John. What are we supposed to do with this? Oh man, I mean, it's working out for Beast Coast. They continue to get these entry kills. Some huge stuff from Sip in there, though. You saw him working both of those angles, not only to get the kill under the smoke, but also get the lead pick off inside of blue onto the vigil as well. That's some great stuff, and that's exactly what you want when you're trying to force your way into sight. Obviously, all of these Disrupt members are practically obligated to throw themselves at you to try and prevent any of that from happening. So, you know, those quick in succession gunfights are usually extremely difficult. They're all trying to work the angles at the same time to make it to where they have to split your attention. And that time around, Sippin ends up coming out on top. That's something you don't see happen too often, especially with gunfights like that. I mean, you're talking back to back, both angles are already being contested, and he wins both of those. So great stuff for Beast Coast, but you gotta give it to Sippin on that one.
Good stuff from Sippin there to pick up those very crucial kills in the mid-round. Once again, keeping Beast Coast alive, quite literally, in the midst of this map here as they keep the scoreline within just one round's reach of Disrupt's own scoreline now, 5-4. Disrupt, of course, rotating away from that basement hold. Neither team really having a lot of luck with that one. Is now going to try their luck over here at Master once again as well, seeing if they can win it out in bedroom and gym.
Yeah, usually the off-site choice for most clubhouse teams, but for Disrupt, it's going to have to be the round that pushes them to map point. They need it right now desperately. Beast Coast has been linking some rounds together and looking to contest every single round so far on this offensive side. Even the round that DG picked up there in round 8, it was still a very hotly contested round from Beast Coast. So Disrupt just needs to make sure to stay on their toes and be prepared for what Beast Coast throws at them. For Beast Coast, though, we're going to be starting things off on the east side of the map and trying to push into this cash room defense. It's going to be NGR inside of here with, let's see if he does have those impacts on deck. He does. He switched things up. So NJR, excuse me, is going to be holding things down with the impacts to make sure none of those Selma charges are going to work, but he is only going to be able to get 2 of those, and not even the second one. He uses the second impact, but he ends up getting downed instead from Sippin and dusted. So 5v4 in favor of BC.
Nice pickup there from Beast Coast. The early pick definitely going to help them out with their confidence at a minimum with trying to go for the execute in a late round scenario here. More importantly, it's the first step on a very long checklist to getting themselves closer and closer to the actual bedroom site. Still a lot to be dealt with, though, and Beast Coast are very well aware of that. They're now rotating over here and are looking for a quick breach to the inside of the jacuzzi balcony. There are some players from Disrupt on the other side of this one. I don't believe they're Shuttle, though, because they would be the only ones that could stop this. He's arrived, but I think he's too late, and even worse, he's going to get stunned out, forced down the main stairs. So the jacuzzi wall is going to be swung wide open now.
Well, great beginnings here for Beast Coast. Already got the jacuzzi wall open, as you were talking about. Got Claymore set up as well. Looks like the whole shebang is set up and ready to rock. They just need to actually force their way into sight and get some intel here to where they can possibly find these picks. Now, it should be pretty easy for them. Disrupt aren't exactly going to be playing anything out of the ordinary. There's only a handful of spots you can really anchor at. So this is where it becomes extremely, extremely easy for, you know, professional level rosters and T2 rosters. Simply because it's just a matter of deduction. If they're not here, then they're there. So now they're going to force themselves into the building, start working on bathroom. They want to try and get some grenades in here to really contest this smoke player, trying to get a plant down inside of weights. Everyone really centralized around this jacuzzi balcony. They finally try to get inside the building. Anthony trades out for Reed, but Sippin gets taken down. Retro's still allowed to exist inside of bathroom, but now the trades ensue from utility. Rudy starts the plant off. Ghost gets another one from the main stairs, but gets eaten alive by the Alda. Retro follows through, and now the plant's not going down anymore. It's all up to Fozo up against Retro, but Retro wins it. Disrupt onto map point off the back of some amazing play inside of the bathroom.
These are some crazy rounds, Stokes. What is this, like 3 rounds in a row now where it's nearly come down to a 1v1 or something pretty close to that? Either way, all of these rounds are going to their limits. These teams are fighting their hearts out. But sadly for Beast Coast, Disrupt is still coming out on top of things once again with a 2-round lead and only one more needed to close it out. The bad news for them and the good news for Beast Coast, though, is that we're heading to basement with it, where they've had a lot of success winning on their attacks, mainly because of the exploits of Rudy.
Yeah, you know, I'm a T3 King George sub, and he usually says that it's a swing or be swung meta. So I'm just gonna say that, and yeah, King George knows best. There you go, swing or be swung. That's about it. But nah, for Disrupt there, that was just some amazing trading. They won out on the initial entry kills there for Beast Coast, more than likely off of the calls from Retro, because obviously all of that is happening off of the other on the other side of the bathroom wall. So you know, you hear what practically sounds like a stampede coming in from Jacuzzi. You probably know where a lot of the team is, and DG do a great job of taking down that entry point. They shut down multiple of them, especially Sippin on that entry. Granted, it did get traded out, but that really was the leadoff kill that they needed to make sure that that entire take fell apart for Beast Coast. They weren't able to have enough bodies there when it came down after the trades to be able to support the case plant, and that's where Retro steps up to the plate and makes some huge impactful plays. Great stuff there from Disrupt to win that gym round.
All right, guys, so into what could be our final round here. If not, the last round of regulation is going to come up right after this anyway, so it is the penultimate round. And it's time to see if Disrupt can shut things down here, or if we're potentially going to go to OT with another Beast Coast victory. On the opening push, not going to see a whole lot of crazy stuff coming out here from Beast Coast, as you generally might expect against a basement defense here. A lot of drone work to be done more than anything else, specifically to see that if there is going to be a roam game at all from the Disrupt camp. And they do see Reed running up the steps from smoke there, but that's not going to change their playstyle too much, as he'll run right back down upon being spotted, and the turtle setup will resume.
Well, that's going to give Beast Coast the entire map for the most part on the top floor. So this is just going to be up to them to dedicate that utility and start looking for those picks. I know that we say this a lot, but for Clubhouse, that's most of the time what it is for this basement site. Just start using that verticality. You could definitely get some picks on the defense if you want to try and contest that, but usually that's out of the cards. You really don't want to use, you really don't want to die early, especially on basement. There's a lot of crosses here where if you are up on man count, it's just going to be so difficult for them to try and push into. But for Disrupt, they've already got quite a few, or excuse me, for Beast Coast, they've already gotten quite a few things open, already have an option to try and push into mud. They'll also get Moto open as well, completely getting rid of all of NJR's utility. Oh, actually no, keeping his claws on him. Knew the double EMP was coming, so smart stuff from him. He'll be able to lock down a couple of other walls, but it seems as though Beast Coast have already dedicated their utility to that. So they already have a hole inside of Church. This can no longer be held down by NJR with his utility. He's just going to have to try and stick to it with the TCSG.
Down to that last third of the round here as we approach the 1 minute mark. Still plenty of time for Beast Coast to set up, however, the way the meta currently plays, and Disrupt is going to remain not too bothered about the chain of events either here. Fozo and the rest of Beast Coast still looking down through those top-down angles to try and line something up, but now the action begins. Rudy will commit, but the timing is so poor. The good news, though, is Ghost is there to trade it immediately. So while they will lose their hard breach, Ghost will be there to make sure that things stay even at a 4v4. Away from that, Retro has now got himself into a bit of a dodgy situation here. He's got one player pushing for Moyle, but another at blue as well. The blue player's not even going to be needed. However, Shuttle sneaks through. Anthony has not even been noticed, though. He's allowed to get the full reload animation off before he as well gets traded out by J9, and we go into a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 now with Reed's most recent pickup here as everything falls to Fozo, and he's got 25 seconds left. No kid in hand either here, so he's got to go back and try to find himself the case if he wants a hope of clutching this. He'll route around over into Moto. Knows he's got one player right around the corner from him. The sound cues should be obvious enough, but what he doesn't know now is whether he's committed to the angle or wrapped back in, and unfortunately, paying no mind to the angle sitting way in the back of Arsenal will immediately lead to his death upon peeking. J9 shuts it down, and Disrupt claim map number 1.
7-4 in favor of DG. Some amazing rounds from them and a massive amount of clutch moments overall. I mean, BC, they definitely had an opportunity here to win a handful of these rounds. They just weren't able to shut down DG when it came to those clutch opportunities, and that really was the difference maker inside of this game. I really feel as though if BC was playing more tight-knit inside of those clutch opportunities for DG, that they would have been able to trade things out there, especially on what we saw with that CCTV attack where J9 was able to clutch things up. I mean, that was just very, very unfortunate for Beast Coast there, but I mean, it's all said and done for Clubhouse. Looks like we got Oregon up next.
Oregon is indeed coming up next, folks, and it's not going to be too long until we get to it either. Stick with us, and right after the break, we'll have the analysis desk breaking things down for map number 1 and getting us ready for map number 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Map number 1, Clubhouse, went straight to Disrupt Gaming. What looked like dominant fashion early on in the game. Beast Coast, they were able to make it respectable, almost tying it up, almost going neck and neck against Disrupt Gaming, but then DG, they realized who they were, pedal to the metal, just steamrolled ahead and won the map outright. But analyst Jesse, Jacob, give me your thoughts on what's been going on this map.
Well, Beast Coast kept things really close. I think Sam hit the nail on the head. There were a lot of opportunities for Beast Coast to take a couple of rounds off DG, but it's a clutch situation. And who came out the best in those clutch moments? Disrupt. That's what they're known for in the North American division, and that is exactly why they have the position that they do. So it was back and forth, but if Beast Coast could have capitalized on a couple more of those late round clutch chances, they might have been able to turn this one around.
Yeah, I really think that Disrupt had a strong start. I mean, a 4-2 attacking split is very good, but when they moved over to defense, there were definitely some sloppinesses that revealed themselves. So great for Beast Coast to be able to battle that one back. Obviously, weren't able to go all the way and take that W, but all in all, I think they should be proud about how they turned that map from a really bad situation to one that looked pretty good for them.
All right, and take a look at the stats. Good Lord Almighty. J90 and NJR popping off. Shuttle right behind them. 14, 12, and 8. Retro, you'll have to see Retro in the mix. Reed did a great job as well, but looking at Beast Coast, we saw a lot of times Rudy left alive last with Ghost. Clutch opportunities were there. They weren't able to capitalize on all of it, but Sippin led the way for this team with 12 kills. Man, Jacob, we talked about it after Jesse, he caught out the maps. We saw Clubhouse going to Disrupt Gaming. That was their pick. We questioned why Beast Coast didn't ban it. When Disrupt Gaming, they're eventually they're essentially great there. What's your opinion on Beast Coast letting that slide?
I think it's because they had a lot more confidence in Clubhouse than we gave them credit for. Look at this stat line, something that you might not notice. only one player had a cost of below 60%. That's how close this one was. Beastcoast came into this game prepped and armed to the teeth. It's Disrupt's playground, it's their battleground, and Beastcoast probably more wanted to send a statement more than anything else to say we can take Disrupt to the limit on a map that we already know that they are substantially better on than most teams in North America. But it is absolutely still where Disrupt are supposed to thrive. They've gained a reputation for turning Clubhouse into their own map in a pretty similar way to how Space Station have also christened it Dubhouse in their case. However, it's a little bit of a different story between how SSG and Disrupt play this map, but DG still brought their attacking rounds to bear. It was a 4-2 half in their favor, and all they had to do was go to defense to clean things up.
And actually, speaking about defense in the half, Jesse, I'm looking at you for this one, right? Disrupt, they came out the gate swinging 4-2 half. BC, I mean, starting off on defense, especially on Clubhouse, you hear it all the time from the casters, you at least want to walk away 3 to 4 wins if you're playing defense, hopefully all of them. What was your ultimate takeaway when it came to that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this definitely was, should have been a defender-sided map on paper, obviously, over Clubhouse, in particular with Maverick and Habana off of the board. Those are two big positives taken away from the attackers. And I think if you did, dissect the 2 rounds that Beast Coast won, those were rounds where the Roamers really did their best to waste time. They were far off of the bomb site, whether it was the first defensive win that they got on CCTV Cache, where the Roamers stayed below, they stayed hidden and forced Disrupt to waste time going to hunt them down, or whether it was that last round where they did that drone denial roam, they had Roamers on the top floor, and again, they didn't get a crazy amount of kills. I believe they traded 2 for 2, the Roamers, on that round, but they wasted so much time, and Disrupt are a slow team. We talked about this beforehand. If you can extend that length of time they have to spend in the early round, they won't have enough time to get to the end round, okay? Disrupt are not going to quickly clear out all of your Roamers unless those Roamers are close to site or you just don't have any Roamers, and that was the biggest problem I saw with Beast Coast defenses.
So with that in mind, going to Oregon the next map, how should they play? What should their play style be? Should they speed it up more, be more aggressive, more adaptive? What do you want to see from both of these teams?
Well, I think that Beast Coast, they really do have a lot of opportunities in Oregon to spread their team out. When we go to a Dorms defense, for example, you can have players lurking around in the basement and really being a thorn in the side of Disrupt. And DG have shown that they want to hunt those Roamers down. They're not usually a team to just ignore those Roamers and say, we're going to focus the site. They want to be able to get that man advantage. And so if you can throw those players way off of the bomb site, keep them alive, play Vigil or whatever you'd like, to make sure that you don't end up getting hunted down. That's going to be key. Even on a map like Laundry, a lot of people like to hunker down inside of Laundry, and we saw that even from Beast Coast just yesterday. But if you can send a player up to Dorms, just run around the map, waste time, that could be huge, and that could be a big positive for BC.
Yeah, you're right. Now, Jacob, in order for Disrupt Gaming to 2-0 sweep this team right now, and they want to put the game to bed, right? What type of performance do you want from Disrupt? What do they really need to pick up on to make sure that BC don't even have a chance? What's going to be the X factor, man?
The key for Disrupt for me was going to be shutting down both Sippin and Ghost. Now, they did a pretty good job of shutting down Ghost, but that's because he wasn't playing very aggressive roles on Clubhouse. So if he does decide to do something maybe a little bit more roam heavy as opposed to playing in an anchor position, then you need to find Ghost, track him down, and make sure he can't make a round impact. The thing that they still need to do, though, is take out Sippin. If the man is getting hyper aggressive, he needs to be the first person that Disrupt take out of the equation as often as they possibly can. The other thing to maybe pay attention to would be Rudy. He's not doing anything super aggressive on his own end. He is playing anchor. He's holding back on sites as often as he can, but he's still capable of making these massive plays from out of nowhere. Sometimes it's a multi-kill, sometimes it's just stopping someone from getting a plant down. Those kinds of things, when you leave someone on site for as long as Rudy sits there, is a massive critical point of interest for Disrupt. They've done a pretty good job so far, but they'll need to keep on shutting down Beast Coast resources if they want to have a chance to make it home.
Yes, now as these players are getting ready in the lobby currently, we had a community poll on our social media pages if you followed, like I asked you to do before, and the question was, both of these players are veterans, having each played for Disrupt and for Beast Coast during their career. Which one will lead their team to the finals today? It was between Ghost and Retro. Jacob, who won this one, man?
Dang it, dude.
This is actually a hard one.
This one is difficult. My heart says Ghost, but my gut says Retro, so I'll take Retro.
Okay, Jesse, which one you rocking with?
This is a great question.
It
A
is.
callback to Retro on Beast Coast too. I love it. I'll
Yeah.
go for Retro as well, just because I love that reference.
Both of you guys are right. Like, how? Again, man. All right, Retro.
Choose the T1 team.
Right, Retro won with 56%, Ghost 44%, and so far, the community and the analysts are not wrong, but there's something fun that we have had planned today, and I'm gonna leave this up to my two buddies to explain what's going on. You guys want to pay attention to this one?
All right,
Jacob?
so let me put it this way. If you're on Twitch or if you're on YouTube, this is something that you at home can jump in on. Before you start putting exclamation point giveaway in the chat, I'm just going to say right now it will do precisely 0 because that's not how we're doing this. Anyone can participate. If you head over to Twitter right now, if you go to R6 Esports and a Twitter account, they should have just retweeted something from me for a skin giveaway. Corsair has been kind enough to offer one of you the opportunity to win the Corsair MPX skin that you've probably seen around on the internet a couple of times. This bad boy right here
Gorgeous.
can be yours. All you got to do, head over to either my Twitter account, Jesse's Twitter account, or the R6 Esports NA account and respond to that tweet with why you should be watching the North American Six Invitational Qualifiers today. What's the big reason for you? Why is this stream so interesting? Is it because Veli is one of the best people to walk planet Earth? Is it because Jesse's got a massive brain? Or is it because somewhere on the stream you know I'm gonna pull a sandwich out of my butt? Whatever the reason might be, go ahead and respond to that tweet. Let us know, give us your best response, and Jesse and I will pick one winner for this skin live on stream in just a couple of hours.
Make it good, make it funny, make it count. In production, if you hear me, if you could throw up I just want to see that skin again. It was kind of sexy, but
It's so nice.
keep the picture away because I know the games are ready to start. So this is gonna be map number 2, Oregon. Let's see if Disrupt Gaming can put this game to bed with the 2-0 win over Beast Coast, or if Beast Coast can fight back to go in the third map. Stokes and Blue, take it away.
All right, thank you very much, Veli. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to map number 2 between these teams, Beast Coast and Disrupt. Only one of them can move on to potentially still qualify for SI tomorrow. For the loser, unfortunately, their chances this year are gone, and they will not get another one. Stokes, what do we make of this matchup as we get ready to head into map number 2?
I think that this map is going to be contested even more so than what we saw previously on Clubhouse. Oregon is a map that we've seen Beast Coast be dominant on throughout the SI qualifier as well as inside of Challenger League. So I think that this is going to be their best opportunity to take a map off of Disrupt.
All right, well, we're going to have to see if they can get that done. We're just waiting on the game to get started now at this point, which should be happening at any moment. In fact, I think it is going to be happening in just a second, and then we'll dive into Oregon itself, see if the bans are going to be any different, and more importantly, get to check out what exactly the match looks like. And the time is now, ladies and gentlemen. In we go to Oregon. For Beast Coast, they're up against the wall in an 0-1 deficit. They have to pick this map up if they want to keep their SI chances alive. For Disrupt, they're up and are looking to shut this series down with a second win right now. Let's take a look at the bans.
All right, jumping right in, folks. Beast Coast offense, Disrupt defense. First ban on the board will be Disrupts, and we'll also get the last. So Maverick off the board early on. Not a bad ban for Oregon at all. This is more of a universal thing, but it definitely applies to this map extremely, extremely well. This is going to be one that's a little bit more unorthodox coming out from Beast Coast, though. Taking away the Nomad, this will force someone to be on that flank watch unless they want to bring something like Gridlock, but we don't really see that often.
Nomad ban, an interesting one. Definitely one that I've seen personally coming into play actually quite a bit in past months, but it seems to have fallen out and only gets banned out during niche times. And this seems to have been one of them. Mira is going to be the next ban, as we saw her used quite a bit in sort of interesting fashion back on the previous map there. And not going to have that happening this time, is, well, obviously she'll be banned. And then our final ban coming up here in just a second will be Valkyrie, which, yeah, lines up with what we've been seeing over the past couple of months. A lot of intel coming out from her, as well as just a good roamer in general and good utility overall as well. So just get rid of that. That's basically the stance a lot of teams have been taking recently.
Yeah, there's been a lot of Valkyrie hate recently. I don't know what she did to all of you guys, but it was definitely something. I mean, to be honest with you, though, her kit and just what Valkyrie's able to do just with her presence as an operator, just simply picking her, is something that's kind of unparalleled on defense right now. That's why she's been getting banned out so often. She's kind of like a one-man army, to be honest with you. You can get your own intel, you can go for spawn peaks. There's just so many things that she does and does correctly that there's no real bad moment to bring her. So removing her from the field actually hinders a lot of roamers. I mean, we've seen this time and time again, going all the way back. I mean, it doesn't really matter how far back you want to go. We can go all the way back to SI-19, where we saw Waka running out on border with Valkyrie. I mean, things like that. She's always been an operator that just carries so much influence with her, along with those cameras and that MPX, very easy to use SMG, that there's never really a bad moment. So you might as well ban her out, make it to where you're slowing down some of these roamers, as well as the intel game from the defense.
I was actually kind of surprised we didn't see her get banned out more recently, and I guess the reason for that is that because we generally had IQ picks still being pretty prevalent in the meta, but as of recent times with IQ kind of fading out of prevalence as of the past couple of months, it seems to make sense that, oh, well, now we have the cameras that we can't really find anymore, so I guess we got to start banning her out a lot. It seems to almost been like a natural evolution of IQ coming out of the mix quite a bit.
Yeah, the craziest thing about the metas for Rainbow Six is that I feel like everyone gets a general consensus of what's going on, and they all play like the first handful of things after balances for like the first 3 weeks, right? But then as, you know, people start to kind of go outside of the box and add some new things in and try different things begin to shift along and really produce other things, like you were just talking about with IQ not being very, very potent right now inside of this meta. She doesn't have the best secondary utilities. Her primary utility is strong, but you have to be able to have, you know, soft flooring or, you know, be in line of sight in order to get rid of things. She's really only picked up to play into Valkyrie or into Echo, but obviously since Echo doesn't have any invisibility anymore, her counter to that isn't as strong as it once was. So that's more of a reason to not bring IQ. So you might as well ban away the Valkyrie. Therefore, you don't have to worry about the Valkyrie cameras or even have to, you know, consider bringing an IQ.
I've got Beast Coast committing to their drone game down into the basement now through those back stairs. Obviously going to be some obstacles in the way, mainly in the form of Shuttle on the Clash, looking to outright deny any access to those back stairs throughout the course of this round. Now, there is going to be utility which can get her out of the way even partially and hopefully push her a little bit further down the stairs to allow Beast Coast to execute. But either way, they don't seem too keen on using any of that right now, and instead are going to be rotating over towards the construction tube instead to try and make a push from there.
Really liking the setup right now for Disrupt, especially with the Clash and how aggressive Shuttle is playing this to the back stairs. He's going to be able to support a lot of these plays for DG members if they do want to get aggressive on construction, but this is mostly just going to slow down BC. You can see the first set of hard destruction going off on the electrical wall here. They've already gotten the hatch open, but that's besides the point. They still really can't push forward with Shuttle being at this door. They'll be able to smoke things off, but as long as J9 and Shuttle have this pinch, it's going to make things extremely difficult for them until they finally get a kill. That's exactly why they'll start dedicating more X-Kairos to the walls for electrical, trying to push Shuttle back, but it's actually going to be Anthony to strike first, who takes down NJR.
Getting some NS from his opponent right there, some respect being given out, but either way, East Coast now going to try to push their way back in. The Clash still going to be a problem for them as they try to work their way over towards the site. The quick reinforcement now going down, trying to work their way past it. Anthony can't find the shot. Another trade's going to go down, leading to the deaths of Reed and Ghost from each team, respectively. Now a 3v4, still with the attackers having the slight edge at a +1 man advantage. But in the final 35 seconds, this is going to get incredibly close because of the fact that everybody's fighting in such close quarters overall here. Some more info going out as they figure out where Retro's position is. He'll be one of the 2 players that's remaining standing on top of the Clash at this point. So this is all going to be on Retro for the most part, and he can't get anything done. He goes down to Fozo. A great clear from Beast Coast, and they should have the plant secured at minimum now.
Big problems here for DG as they completely get shut down from Beast Coast. That was a great round from them. Handled things extremely appropriately. There was really no misstep and had a great lead-off kill there onto NJR. So they really had everything in order to have this round fall into their favor. But I really, really liked what they, or how they handled E-Box. They were able to get a lot of hard destruction off on it, forcing Clash back away from construction door, which gave them the opportunity to step up and start contesting NJR. NJR. There was just a lot of really solid gameplay there from them. So for DG, they just weren't really able to get any of those picks that they were initially looking for. They were playing aggressive with the clash, but they didn't get the picks over towards construction, as well as there wasn't truly anything happening around big tower stairs at that moment in time. So it was really just a 50-50 shot between NJR or obviously Anthony, and Anthony surely came out on top of that one. So really just a big snowball there for Beast Coast as they continued to push Disrupt back, who could never truly find an equalizer.
Well, that'll lead us into a quick repeat, actually, from Disrupt. They're going to go right back downstairs here into the basement to try that yet again. Things were looking good for them up until that execute point from Beast Coast when they started pushing in towards construction there, and players started to bleed out one by one. The attempts of trades from Disrupt just not enough to be able to keep them on the field, and Beast Coast win that with still quite a few of their players standing with relatively full HP as well here. So let's see if the reattempt is going to look any better for Disrupt, if they're going to try to fan out at all from their basement positions, or continue to play into the turtle and hope that they can fend off the actual aggression this time from Beast Coast.
Well, for BC, I think this is going to be more of the same. There was nothing there that necessarily stood out that would make it to where they need to make an adjustment. I mean, obviously, Disrupt aren't going to be bringing the Clash this time around anymore. They decided to go with a Goyo. Not only is that going to give them more utility on site to play off of, especially since they have a shield with Retro as well, so make that 3 this time, but they also are going to have someone that's gun up instead of standing there staring through some plastic. So that could obviously help them out quite a bit, just being able to contest some more angles instead of just getting the intel for their other players, because when it comes down to those clutch moments where you're trying to win inside of a 3v5, 2v4, having Clash still be up is basically only intel. She can obviously slow people down, but it's kind of like being friends with a bully. He'll just hold you or hold them for you while you punch them. That's really all he's going to accomplish. He can slow them down, but somebody else still has to kill them. So having him have a gun now could honestly be the game changer, but for Beast Coast, it seems as though it's going to be a little less of the same. Instead, they're immediately going to go for the laundry hatch. They'll still get the E-box hatch, though. Fozo will dedicate his utility to that, as well as Rudy getting open freezer hatch. So Beast Coast have already opened up every single avenue of attack to actually hit the basement.
Decent amount of drone intel coming their way too as they start to funnel those into the actual site, with quite a few in excess as well, so they can continue to get it later on in the round. J90 trying to set himself up for something a little bit later there as he sets up just a quick little bullet hole from his sidearm. As the rest of Beast Coast sit above those hatches, they're getting closer and closer to their own execute point yet again. Still looking for info to confirm what exactly they're going to be going up against when they commit to that push, though. And we're in a little bit of trouble here dealing with the dealing with the drone, but thankfully not too much of an issue for much longer, as he does eventually take it out. Trying to take out the freezer wall here as well, it seems, Fozo is, but he'll lose his Selma charge as a result of doing that. It'll quickly get shot out by the freezer player. No success on making the breach. Now, we're going to see the construction players start to move in. Let's see. Okay. Ghost just walks right up to the breach. They've only got a passive hold on it, so Shuttle doesn't really know what to expect, and he gets ripped apart by Ghost. Rudy gets another entry here as well, and all of a sudden we're down to a 5v3.
Disrupt in the process for sure. I mean, that's a very nice shot by Reed and really desperately needed there, but the hold from Beast Coast might already be too strong. I don't think that Disrupt will be able to fight back, all except for utility. They need another pick here to try and equalize. This Nitro Cell from J9 could be the difference maker as Beast Coast are preparing for a plant. Reed's been pushed back inside of Fraser, but he still has good contention for Pillar. Rudy starts the plant up, though. They're about halfway through. Nitro Cell out, and it gets 2. That's exactly what we needed to see from J9. Reed follows it up with a double, but now it's all up to Sippin in a 1 versus 3. He takes down Reed inside of Fraser, but still has 2 to worry about on site. Very minimal HP as well. This is not a winning situation for him. No case control, but he's looking to find the man inside of laundry. Skips behind the laundry machine, and Retro lets him know. Steps right back in the angle, burns him with the SMG-11, and that'll be 1 round into DG's favor. We already had the 1 round initially from Beast Coast, but DG immediately firing back.
Bit of a scary one, though, to be fair, because Beast Coast once again is allowed to get their openers with essentially 0 response coming out from Disrupt until they actually are able to bounce back into that round from the 3vx scenario there. BC doing great work on their entries here, but in that round specifically, unable to follow it up, it seems. That double Nitro Cell kill really turning things around, and more importantly, allowing for a lot more aggression from the deeper site players to start bringing that round back under DG's own control.
You almost have to feel bad for Beast Coast there, as they had the Overwatch set up, but trying to track a C4 through the air through toxic yellow smoke, that's just damn near impossible. The thing lands right at their feet, blows them both sky high, and then we have a completely different round. And For Disrupt, that's exactly what the doctor ordered. They needed that round right now to try and set some things up and get the ball rolling on their defenses here on Oregon. Again, they still have to transition into an offense here, so all of these defensive rounds are extremely, extremely important. The offense on Oregon is not something to be taken lightly. It's where a lot of the rounds are lost for these teams. We actually just commentated a game yesterday where we actually saw the defensive squad go 5-1 off rip, and then we still had overtime, John. This map just trends towards that defensive play style.
It is the battleground, as it would seem to take shape of here ever since the changes have come in for it over the past couple, or I guess it was almost about a year ago now that the rework for this map came out.
Is it really?
I think, right? Because didn't it come out like right around SI, the rework for this?
For Oregon? I want to say this one, okay, no, because Chalet came out like 6 months ago.
Yeah, so
then,
like I said, this rework's almost a year old now, I think.
Can we get done with 2020 already? Like, I'm just, oh my gosh.
I thought it was a lot more recent too. That's why I corrected myself. I was like, oh wait, no, it was almost a year ago.
John, we're getting old, man. We're getting old.
But yeah, another year gone by, another rework having been fully fleshed out, it seems here, and it's led into a very defender-sided map so far here, at least based on the previous 2 days of play. We definitely get some variance every once in a while here. Ghost just going to be opening up the floor panels below him. That's not a nitro cell, so that's just so he can see any sort of flank maneuver that the defenders might try to pull on him from down below, which that is somewhat alive. You can see NJR lurking in the basement right now, and there's another player on the first floor too. So these two are going to be very important to the late round. Ghost just spotted out J9, excuse me, so he'll have to rotate back more than likely. But the player in the basement, NJR, can still find some pretty big impact here.
Yeah, Beast Coast gets a good read on the situation for what's going on with the roam game, but they haven't applied any of their utility to the master wall just yet. That's what they're trying to do. EMP's in. They need to get these X-Kairos off, but now Anthony knows someone's close to Trophy Door. Still has to deal with that Malusi, but this could be a hotly contested gunfight. They're on both the angles, but it's Anthony to win it out. Retro aiming just a little bit too low and gets decapitated for this angle. Now Shuttle and the rest of the squad are forced to hold things down, but still a lot of time left on the clock for Beast Coast to make adjustments, as well as this roam game to come to life.
He's going to hear the big window getting popped. No immediate action coming through on the Beast Coast camp, however. But once again, they've got the opening frag in their favor, just like the previous 2 rounds here. So something to build off of at a minimum here. But will they actually be able to carry it through? Well, thankfully, they've got another minute to actually make that call here. And they've already got a lot of control built up just within the first 2 minutes of their play already. Now, how do they swing it? Now, how do they loop it back around to get into the actual depths of the upstairs here in order to get that case onto the ground? Well, we're about to get an answer in just a moment. Unfortunately, it won't involve any attic plays. They're being denied there by a mute jammer sitting on the other side. They'll have to push directly in through the doorway. Is Disrupt expecting this? Yes, they are. NGR gets a quick double, tries to go for 3, but only knocks off half the HP from Rudy. He'll maintain and now hold the flank for any players that try to work their way up through white. In fact, he's going to get aggressive now, try to swing directly into it, gets some good damage over onto J9, and now has what he needs to at least try and attempt a plant here.
Yeah, got some problems now, though, as he's actually going to have to play off of default, which could lead into some issues. Prone angles for both Sippin and Reed, but Reed's just better in this situation. Bozo trying to win out on the top of white, but he gets eviscerated by Shuttle. Disrupt all over this defense. You thought that Beast Coast had it, especially with that leadoff kill, but they walk in and just get decimated at every single angle. NJR stepping up when he was needed most.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that they didn't realize, and because of that, obviously didn't know that we had a mute jammer sitting on the other side of the attic wall, because that seems to have been a pretty major wrinkle in their plan. If they're able to get that open, you're not gonna have the immediate counter set up by NJR sitting on the other side in attic. He's not gonna be able to open up that attempt at a push with 2 immediate kills, which don't really go traded out until later on in the round there. So not being able to access the attic wall was a pretty major bump in the road for Beast Coast. They just decided to try and force their way past, and unfortunately didn't really work out too well for them.
I'm so happy that you brought that up. That's really down to the setup here for Disrupt and how they played with those mute jammers. I mean, as you were saying, it seemed as though every step of the way, Disrupt's utility stood in the way of Beast Coast's success. And that's exactly what you want it to feel like for the offense. Those mute jammers, especially the one on the attic wall, since Beast Coast was out of those EMPs, was the game changer that they needed. They could no longer apply 2 separate angles to NJR. They had to try and contest him through other means. So what do? They just try and walk inside and contest test him on the attic door. But even then, it seemed as though Ghost wasn't exactly prepared for him to be there. NJR catches him off guard. Beast Coast are so confident in their entries that they don't even check the angle again. We see the other Beast Coast member looking completely left and ends up getting killed as well. NJR tries to go for 3. Really doesn't work out, but a 2-for-1 trade is almost always better than a 1-for-1 trade. Did you know that?
I mean, I'd hope so, yeah, but...
Yeah, percentages and math, man. Come on.
All right, so it's going to be a first floor hold here now from the Disrupt camp once again. We're starting to rotate around their entire site hold now that we have moved ourselves. What's up?
That is a lot of utility. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. So we'll have to see how this goes here, just because of the recent utility changes here. It looks as though they staggered the ADSs, but I still feel as though if something flies through that door, that both the ADSs may go off. We'll have to see. They've more than likely tested this, and I'm probably wrong, but we'll find out a little bit later on.
Either way, it's going to be action in small tower first off here, so we might not get a whole lot working itself towards the attic until later on in the round. This is only a 2-player push from BC, though, as they've now moved into it and are working on dealing with the wall, reinforcing their way into kitchen from cafeteria. That'll get popped, but again, with the extra players still holding upstairs, you're not going to be able to push into that angle very easily, at least not without having to deal with an immediate player on top of you from that hatch, as we can see from J90's position, or J90's position, excuse me. We've got Beast Coast, though, still stacking up over towards Big Tower as well, so this is going to be a multifaceted push. Just need to see them set it up a little bit more, and then we'll have a better idea when it will eventually explode out onto the site, because they're more than likely going to be working on taking out the stage wall as well.
Oh, almost a pick there for NJR, but they definitely know where this take's coming from now as they continue to work on that stage wall. Have attic control now, and this is exactly what they needed. NJR can no longer approach the hatch without being killed by ghosts. So they have the top control now. They just need to get this plant off on stage, and this is going to be the main priority. They've already cleared the ADSs. Anthony checked that with his concussion as well as impact. So very strong start here for BC. They just need to actually work their way onto site. These initial picks are going to really tell the tale of what's going on, but it seems to still be in the Disrupt camp as Reed leads us off.
Good pick for Reed, but at a heavy cost to his own HP, so we'll have to see if he'll be able to get anything else later on in the round, or if he'll just end up going down on a 1-for-1. Great damage follow-up there. All that damage onto Anthony is mainly coming in from him before he goes down, but the big news is that they got 2 from that push right there, and now have the slight man advantage to work with here. NJR still has top hatch control over them, but they don't seem to be going for that site. They're going into meeting room instead. Shuttle's able to go 1-for-1, but now they've pinched it. There's no other defenses on the inside. J9's in an awkward position as he's out towards connector right now. NJR, the snapshot onto Anthony, is going to take him down and bring this team back into the round. But now, Diffuser has gone down. We move into a post-plant scenario. Ghost with a good initial first pickup here, but oh no, J9 blowing up the wall, not even realizing that Fozo's right next to it, signs his own death warrant as Beast Coast get themselves a second round.
That was some incredible stuff there from BC. The bamboozle at the last second to really throw everything off for Disrupt. They had no idea where they were coming from. They forced the kitchen hall instead of going for stage. They knew that they still had to worry about a player upstairs, and instead of trying to force their way in and die to the guy in the sniper's nest, they might as well try and go for a different facet of attack, and that's exactly what they did. Kitchen hall's completely open. They fight their way in, able to get the entry kill that was necessary. Granted, it didn't go for a 1-for-1, but that gave them map control. That's what they needed, especially with the Habana pinching from behind inside of cafeteria. Overall, a great call from Beast Coast to change things up at that last second and completely flip the script on Disrupt.
Very, very well done by Beast Coast. A very nice heads-up play in order to keep them in this map. Quite literally, in fact, now at a tied 2-2 scoreline. Disrupt are going to rotate back over towards the basement now that they finally completed their run around here. Not going to be feeling the repeat on the site they just lost there, since that's generally the tertiary site for most teams. Basement is instead going to be the playground here now for Disrupt, and we'll go back to the discussion we were having before, where these 2 rounds that were played out on Basement were just so incredibly close. Beast Coast, in fact, finding the entries on both of the attempts that were needed to get them in, bringing it down to a 5v3 on both times before committing, if memory serves me correctly. But on the second attempt, it was Disrupt who was able to turn it back around in that very, very close fight off of a really nice Nitro Cell that took down 2 of the 5 players from Beast Coast that allowed them to get back into it and win the traded round to tie us up at 1-1. Now let's see how the third attempt goes.
That's the big question, isn't it? Let's see how this third basement round fares, shall we? but it already seems as though Disrupt has made an adjustment. I know that we see Retro here, but Cyan, if you could go up a couple levels for me, I guarantee you there's a Jaeger inside of that big tower somewhere. And I found him. NJR, you are the Where's Waldo. The red striped shirt still exists, as NJR will be trying to rat his way around upstairs. This could be a big game changer here, because Beast Coast, as we've seen in the previous rounds, they like to get all of these hatches open and then try and find which avenue they want to take from. This setup here from Disrupt is going to make it to where, you know, obviously they can push Retro back, but NJR can be the game changer as they try to take control of this. They can't get a drone upstairs inside of that T3 area, so as long as he stays hidden, NJR is safe and can possibly make a late round rotation.
And JR are going to continue to stay quiet as a mouse in that position here. East Coast, in the meanwhile, are busy clearing out the first floor, completely unaware of his own play potential that could be coming in later on in the round. They're focused right now on opening up those hatches and working their way down into Freezer, and then more than likely the back stairs. Actually, it might be a laundry push, excuse me, this time around, judging from the hatch and the play here from Rudy. So this might be a little bit of something different here from Beast Coast now.
This thing might be hitting different, as the kids say. Technically speaking. I mean, it technically is a hit, right? They're hitting the site. That's just how it works. Yeah. Drones in for Beast Coast now, as they're just trying to work this intel game. It seems as though they want to go for a front attack this time, or more of a laundry freezer centric type thing, which can definitely work out. This is something that's usually the variable to what we see on those back takes. So BC trying to change things up as Disruptor making adjustments too. So very, very smart stuff, but it seems as though they weren't exactly ready for Reed to be on boost box. He gets one, but he won't get the second, as Rudy's just that much better. Some trades ensue though, as we're already down to a 3 versus 3. Retro finds one, Retro finds two, a Claymore takes down NJR, but now it's already down to the 1 versus 1. Rudy works his way into the site and is able to win out a round for Beast Coast, and an absolute hellish, I mean, I don't even know what to describe that as. It's like we just had a Royal Rumble downstairs in the basement.
Once the trades start, they don't stop, it seems, there, as both teams just go at each other at full speed once the execute begins, at least from that freezer hatch position. Beast Coast really committing to it, and it works out for them as they're able to trade it down and eventually win the final 1v1 to take control for themselves. Bit of something different coming up here on the next round for Disrupt, though, as they're looking to the future. They're going to kitchen and dining hall now, moving away from the meeting room site that they previously played. So we're going to have a rare treat in that a team is actually going to go and play all 4 sites here on their defensive half on Oregon, which we actually don't get a whole lot.
No, we really don't, especially when it comes to this site, just because dining's so weird. So let's talk about this a little bit. Cyan, can you go upstairs just 1 level for me? Thank you so much, man. So there's some soft destruction up here where NJR is, and this is going to be the main focal point for the offense off rip. This is how you stop a lot of people from trying to counteract your plants, or once the case is down, this is where you want to be to hold that down. Any verticality over a case is usually where you want to play defense from once it's already went down. But as you can see, Disrupt's entire game plan is to stop this from happening. Some soft destruction upstairs, all 3 ADSs under the window, and a Goyo shield all allocated here to make sure that Beast Coast does not have a good time trying to clear any of this out. As for the rest of the setup though, it's mostly going to be shower centric as they try to shut down any push coming in from small tower. This is going to be up to Beast Coast to try and set this up in the way in which they want to attack, which off rip looks like it could be a possible east to west take just by the spawns, but obviously there's a lot left in this round to play out.
Bomb located by attackers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do want to remind you as well about another promotion that we've been doing in-game as well, and that's our Corsair Challenge. Be sure to go ahead and check that out from December 17th to the 24th. Be sure to go ahead and game play 5 rounds of PvP, and you can win yourself that Corsair weapon skin. So be sure to go ahead and game and check that out now. Not only that, but we're giving away one of them on Twitter. I believe our primary Twitter account at R6 Esports NA retweeted a giveaway for that from one of our analysts earlier. Be sure to go ahead and check that out.
All right, well, besides that, it seems as though we've already gotten a pick, because Reed will fall off. So already putting Disrupt into kind of a dire situation. This is definitely a site where you want as many guns up as possible, but NJR, in his typical fashion, will make sure to trade things out onto Anthony. So we're already equalized here, as Disrupt is still holding on to that top floor. It's all up to J9, though, to try and hold things down. Well, my disc's set up, but actually that's going to be a grenade, and it gets rid of all of those my discs. That's going to be a huge problem for him, and Nitro Cell goes off underneath, but they weren't exactly ready for J9 to swing. Doesn't matter, though. Rudy's there, and he's just that much better. AK-12 in hand takes him down, and all of a sudden, Disrupt are put on their back foot.
Disrupt once again fighting from behind within this round, and they do not have a great record on trying to bounce back from these either, at least not within this map. Beast Coast has got themselves off to a swimming start, and now all they really have to do is shut it down here. DG even just holding the back lines really now. NJR as well as Retro playing to the very back foot of their defense because they know there's not as much pressure coming in from the front door side. Bozo's going to get dropped, but Rudy, full committing to a spray, is able to actually take the head off of NJR. So now it's just down to 2 here for Disrupt, as they're still working to get back into the midst of this round. Retro trying to re-peak that same angle where they just lost a teammate a moment ago, but the opportunity's gone. No longer going to be able to find the free trade onto Rudy, and even worse than that, the player that was down, Fozo, has been revived. So Beast Coast are back up to a full 4-man squad now.
Oh, shuttle though. The red dot warrior takes down Sippin. Still has quite a few targets to worry about. He's going to get aggressive, tries to get rid of the drone in the hallway, but oh man, that could have been his death there as he rotates in. Retro's going to get one, but Ghost immediately trades into the 1 versus 2 for Shuttle. Not very much ammo left inside of this SMG-11 magazine. He's got about enough for one gunfight before he's going to have to reload again. Granted, this gun can absolutely rip, and Rudy's putting the case down now. Doesn't seem as though Shuttle's exactly ready for it, but Ghost has the angle. He sees the hands as soon as they enter the angle, but Beast Coast makes sure to give him the bullets instead.
East Coast once again showing a strong footing here on Oregon. A lot of talk about how Disrupt was going to be able to maintain solid control over this map, but it seems like that may not hold itself to be so true. Only 2 rounds from Disrupt coming up on the defensive half here. So now time to see if they're going to be able to rebound it and bring this one back under their control, and maybe still shut down the series on their attacking side, because if not, East Coast are in a great position right now to swing themselves right up to their own 7 and push this to a map 3.
This is something that we saw yesterday on their Oregon as well, was just Beast Coast being quite dominant when it came down to their offenses, and I've liked what I've seen from them so far, but this is the time for them to step up and try and seal this map out. Close it, let's get on to map 3, get to Villa, and try and force this W. But we are going to have one of the most interesting 6 picks I've seen in quite some time, John. We've got Sam Fisher coming into play for the Thatcher of all operators.
Yes, this is an interesting one, because I think either you or Kixer and Terra talked about this
Yes,
yesterday.
my name is Sam, yeah.
about how he hasn't really found like a spot within this meta just yet. Like, he hasn't found necessarily a place to come in, even though of course he is allowed to be played now. So teams this weekend have been experimenting with him every now and again. I don't think we've seen anything crazy come out from any sort of Sam plays just as of yet, or Zero plays just as of yet, but teams are definitely experimenting with him.
Well, the gist of his kit is mostly intel as well as some damage, but mostly to utility. So he's got one laser beam that deals a decent amount of damage, but it also destroys things. So you can get rid of like bandit batteries, mute jammers, stuff like that. Anything that doesn't require an explosive, you can get rid of with his cameras. But the best part about it is not only does it go through soft walls, but it also goes through hard walls as well. So hatches anything, you can shoot one of his cameras through, and now you have intel on both sides. You can actually flip it back and forth. So he's really strong for flank watch, and that might be why they put Reed onto him, because the Nomad band came in, they want some extra intel, so you can dedicate 2 cameras, still have 2 to use for sight, for, you know, late round info and things along those lines. The biggest issue is now though with this kid is that they took his frag grenades away. Usually when somebody has frag grenades, they're pretty easy to work into the mix simply because you have explosives to deal with those utilities we talk about all the time on defense, but since he doesn't have that anymore, it makes it a lot more difficult to work him in. It's kind of like the same situation with IQ.
Well, regardless, he has found himself a position within this round here, and we're going to see what exactly he's able to take out. None of those cameras actually being used just as of yet. I believe their actual name is the Argus cameras, if I'm remembering correctly. So we'll see if he's able to find much from that, as the first usage of one is going to be coming up here in a minute. He's deployed it out to get some info, I believe, on what's on the other side from Attic there. And aside from that, is now just looking to lurk his way downstairs, but unfortunately lost his drone in the process there, it seems. Sippin took it away, so he's going to scurry away with that one, and some more defender-sided information is going to be working its way out into the round here.
Yeah, actually quite a slow leadoff here from what we have been seeing. Usually it's kind of been a hell in a cell here at about the mid-round area, but not this time around. Definitely not the case. Still have a roam game going on for Beast Coast, specifically Anthony coming down main stairs right now. Could possibly step out and get himself a kill, but doesn't exactly want to do that just yet. Instead, pre-fires through the classroom window, but it seems as though there is a pinch going on upstairs as well. Disrupt just biding their time, taking it slow, making sure that this roam game doesn't have any effect over what's going on the offense, but it seems as though the Ash might have already been read out. Anthony's not going to be able to get the lead off kill, though, but Sippin definitely has a chance.
Nice swing from Shuttle. Sippin seemed to have had him read, but it seems like it wasn't the case as Shuttle shuts him down regardless. That's the first kill of the round going into Disrupt's control. But mind you, it's the first kill at 40 seconds remaining here. So now they need to follow this up and get themselves onto his site very, very quickly. And at the moment, Disrupt are not necessarily in position to do that. They're going to have to move very, very fast here. There's another pickup from Retro, which is great. But now Anthony has revealed himself on the flank. Oh no! Doesn't seem to have accounted for the fact that Shuttle could have still been on the top of the stairs. And that on top of J90's most recent pick has left this round in shambles for the BC camp. It's going to be flawless for Disrupt as they take their opener without a single man going down.
Uh-oh. This is looking scary. That's a flawless round there for Disrupt with literally 0 drones left. They had a singular drone inside of their drone economy at all at the end of that round. So they really, really were playing into what was going to go on with that roam game. And they played it so safe, never really stepping into any territory that the roamers had control of. No one upstairs. They just worked the staircases and tried to force BC to make a play. Once they got control of the freezer staircase, though, that was all she wrote. They were able to force their way onto site, get all of the picks necessary in order to try and get a case down. But not even that mattered at the end of the day. It was up to BC to try and clutch in a 1v5, which seldom happens. So great plays here from Disrupt, able to work the map however they wanted, even with the roam game of Beast Coast coming in.
And Zero's coming back in once again. It was used in kind of an interesting way in the last round too, because like I said, we only saw one of the cameras go out from what I was able to tell anyway throughout the course of that round, and it was primarily just used as a flank watch more than anything. So that's an interesting role that actually lines up pretty well with how you were saying it was going to be used because of the fact that they can't bring the Nomad into this.
Man, I do this. That's what I do, all right? I talk about Siege every once in a while. that's about it. But no, I honestly, again, like what we were talking about with this kit, I really feel as though that's like his best allocation right now. Like when he first came out, I remember playing a game against like Fox and Kicks and all them on like Chalet, and Fox was ripping us apart with those flank cams, man. Like every single time I would touch the trophy stairs, he would just start shooting at me through a wall. Like, you know, it's stuff like that where those cameras can just find really niche spots to be flank watch cams, because the other thing is that you don't necessarily have to have something where the camera can drill through. You can straight up look at the ceiling and shoot it into the ceiling, and it will still be a camera, and it works the same as a Valkyrie cam. So like for maps that have extremely high ceilings, he can also find some good usage there to just oversee everything. So I think that there's definitely a lot of opportunities for him to make some major impacts, especially when teams like Beast Coast are running such a heavy roam game. He's going to have cameras allocated throughout the entire map, and you're basically going to have your own makeshift, you know, CCTV network, all from Sam Fisher.
What's great as well is the cams are not that, or very difficult to see if they're like far away, because the light goes off if you're not looking at them. So it's just going to be like this gray little triangle shaped thing in a corner of the room. It's not the easiest thing to spot out if it's super far away. So
yeah, but they have that yellow light. It makes it look like the Iron Giant staring at you. Just this massive yellow beam every once in a while. But seems as though, oh, Sippin actually going to get down, but NJR won't. No.
Oh, no.
Ghost appears out of nowhere, slaps NJR in the face, and immediately runs back down. Seeing if the hatch is open, it is. Sippin's going to hop downstairs now, and that's going to be a free pickup. You'll take that any day of the week.
Shuttle trying to move in.
Oh,
he might be able to punish this still. Oh, the lineup's not there. He's going to get peeked from the lower side as well here. Oh, this is so dangerous for Shuttle. He's got a player on top of him, too. Thankfully, nowhere near him. But he is able to back out of that one. Take no additional losses.
That was just what an engagement from both of these squads right now. We still have plenty of this round to go as well, and only NJR being down with still plenty of drones for DG to try and get some fresher information, as well as with Sam Fisher being on deck. Stuff like this, you see, you got your cameras set up, and he's got an entire CCTV network for this side of the map. You got, you know, your hallway shut down, as well as freezer stairs, and a cam inside a cafeteria. So some really, really solid stuff for late round rotations if anything happens from these Beast Coast members. But as of right now, it's looking to be Disrupt trying to hop inside of double window in dorms. They're still worried about a player possibly being downstairs. That's going to be Ghost inside of security, but it might be all for naught. They do have the cameras inside of the hallway still to read him out, so this could be up to Shuttle to try and get that kill. Still seems as though they want these picks on site, and Beast Coast is not opting to give it to them, but a nice ping from Reed off of that camera inside of the hallway takes down Ghost.
Reed with that good trade there does bring it back down on the even terms. But now the big question is, does Disrupt have enough time to get themselves on the site here? They're still working with a very limited amount of map control. You can see this now from Sippin's perspective, because he has already full control over back tower here. They're trying to swing it in primarily from big window side, as we can see now from J90. He's going to have to hop in and take the risk in the fight against Fozo, and the risk seems to have been worth it. He'll go down on the trade. Another one's going to be picked up here as well. Are we going to see the plan at all? Are they going to be able to even attempt it? No, they're not. Beast Coast wins it out on the timer, and they'll shut down another round for themselves.
Really, really solid stuff from Beast Coast there. They got the leadoff pick onto NJR, and from that point on, it seemed as though Disrupt could not force their way onto site. They had a great setup for flank watch downstairs with those SAM cams, but it didn't matter at the end of the day. They had no choice but to try and hop into the window and force white stairs, and that's exactly what Beast Coast was ready for. They were able to just practically eat them alive from that point on, quickly put another round on the board, and there we go. We're on to round 9. We're going to continue to have these 6 picks, though, over to 0 away from that Thatcher. And honestly, I'm liking the pickup. It seems as though they're working really, really well with this intel. The only thing is that when you have, things like this happen, you have to have somebody dedicated to those cameras. Luckily enough, or maybe unluckily enough, NJR was dead that last time, so he's stuck on cam duty anyways. When you're up in this 5 versus 5, someone has to dedicate themselves to making sure that those cams are live, because obviously they don't do the job for you. You're not getting a hot ping from someone not being on a camera. So it's just, another layer in which Disrupt has to worry about utilizing to make sure that they can shut down this roam game from Beast Coast. As for Beast Coast, that last round really wasn't anything special. They simply got the pick and then just waited things out on time. Disrupt did not want to try and force things forward, as they could not get another pick onto site, forced to hop in that big window once again, and then from that point forward, Beast Coast just ran away with it.
All right, guys, well, into round 9 we will go here. Beast Coast now up 2 rounds over Disrupt here, looking to put themselves onto map point. We can see Ghosts getting aggressive now, too, now that they have that initial control here. He tries to spam out through that T2 window. Not going to find much from it, but now him as well as Sippin are going to continue to hold control of T1 here. That's in the event these drones don't flush them down to the basement, which appears to be what's happening here, as the rest of Disrupt are going to be able to move in and take some of that initial control over towards Tier 2 and eventually try to really flush these guys down into the basement with the actual push down the stairs.
This is something that Disrupt's been, quite strong at so far throughout this series, is pushing back the roam game of Beast Coast or just ignoring it completely. They've found a couple of times where they could just opt away from it instead, and that's also worked. But this time around, though, they forced everyone downstairs. It is a basement setup, obviously, so this usually is more turtle-centric. Makes complete sense that Beast Coast want to play things out this way and lean on that timer. Disrupt now need to start work on hard destruction, though, and then that's exactly what they're stepping up to the plate to do. Retro already getting the E-box hatch open, but he's immediately going to rotate down to construction. This is most definitely going to be a big tower construction take.
So now it's all on Disrupt to make the actual take happen here. They've run into a lot of issues dealing with the aggression from Beast Coast, and this may be another round where that starts to surface against them. Ghost still wants to play for an aggressive swings up those back stairs. He's waiting for the opportunity to do it, but if he can't do it, over here towards construction, okay, never mind. I was going to say they have Rudy as an additional tier on this defense here, but he's going to get taken down very quickly by NJR as he commits himself to that fight over towards the doorway. And unfortunately for Beast Coast, ends up losing it. Not only is that a lost player, but that's a lot of lost utility, and that all the smoke grenades are now gone for the defense.
As well as some shields and everything else, it seems as though they slipped quite a bit of utility in through the gaps, as well my discs were not up to try and stop anything from happening. Now Disrupts, they're in the lead on man count. They just need to get this push right, but oh no, it already seems as though things are going wrong. But NJR immediately fires back inside of construction. Shuttle wins out his gunfight on big stairs, and this is where the execute comes in. Beast Coast down to only 1 member, 1 versus 4 right now for Sippin. Has the AUG here on Wamai. Still 2 impacts in his pocket as well, which could be used as a confirmation, but he's gonna get a lot of damage off. Doesn't matter though. J9's already pushed up inside a freezer hallway, eviscerates Sippin, and takes the round for DG. Trying to equalize here, but down to a 5v4, excuse me, down to 5-4 here for DG as they're trying to find their equalizer.
Some nice work being done for sure here by Disrupt, especially on the opener, to find that pick against Rudy, a crucial player and a crucial operator going down at a very early point in the round, opening up a massive amount of access for the attacking team and allowing them to swing in without too much trouble. It's going to continue, I should say, to be played out on basement, though, as it does look like that Beast Coast believe they can repeat this site and close things down this time. And they may be right about that too. Had Rudy not gone down, we wouldn't have seen such a massive collapse. But at the same time, the follow-ups past him were pretty clean looking from DG as well here. So we could very well end up repeating the same chain of events to give Disrupt their 5th round. Beast Coast seems to think differently though. So they're going to try to get in the way of that and get their own 6th round here finally.
Well, they've definitely caught on to the Sam Fisher picks. They've noted that he's been here every single round so far for DG. So what do they do with that, John? Well, they 6-pick away over towards the Kaid. And this is a really, really big pickup here for Anthony, simply because they're not going to have anything to, try and counteract that through the hatches. So he'll be able to lock these down until further notice. They do have some options here, though, that they could utilize to try and get rid of these Electro Claws. And honestly, that goes back to being Sam Fisher. If they can get some pressure on one of these, hard walls and actually get the, the camera inside of electrical or inside of E-Box, they can have a possibility to shoot the Electro Claw off. But more than likely, what's going to happen is Anthony's going to dedicate one inside of the E-Box as well as one inside of Freezer just to lock down both of those hatches. This is going to add another layer that Disrupt has to fight through. And obviously, since they're 6-picking away from the Thatcher, they're going to have to do it through other means.
Well, into the round we go. We'll take a look at some of the initial bids for control that Disrupt are going to extend out onto the map here. It does look like Big Tower is the main play for the majority of the roster at the beginning of the round, but this probably isn't the only facet to it, as it looks like Reed might also be toying around with something towards garage or possibly the front door as well. Could have just popped it open to look for players and maybe set up one of his Argus cams before rotating back over to join with the rest of the team.
Well, it doesn't seem to be the case just yet, at least cam-wise, but I can definitely tell you what is. Sippin'. First blood yet again. Goes trying to find the equalizer, but he's making noise in the barb. He was ready for it, but he was ill-prepared for the hell fire coming down from NJR. This guy, throughout the day so far, been making a massive impact for Disrupt, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. DG in the lead once again, this time 5-3, but finally firing back. Rudy getting a kill onto NJR. But this has been some of the earliest engagements that we've seen amongst these two teams. And as well as Beast Coast still seem to have plenty of utility to keep things locked down on site. The only thing is since Sippin died so early on, there is a large shortage on my discs.
A pretty massive shortage, in fact, here. Rudy's still in it, though, and he's starting to get a little bit scared of what could be working its way down the construction tunnel. So he's going to back up, reinforce that second wall that they were using as a rotation point until a few moments ago. And now get ready for the actual site take here. Down to a 4v3, so it's definitely winnable for Beast Coast, but their aggression in the early round has once again cost them as they're now fighting from the back foot. Shuttle going to find himself a little bit disappointed that he can't as easily take out this electric wall, but thankfully no one's holding pillars, so it's just a quick wrap around to fix that. Make sure that's not going to get in their way here as they get ready for the actual breach in a moment. Bozo with a nice find from long range, though, here is going to be able to just barely see Reed and pick off his head.
Down to the wire here for both of these squads. Everyone trying to play safely to make sure that they don't give up the farm. Nobody wants to give up this last round, especially Disrupt, as this will be map point for Beast Coast. And they want to try and shut this down inside of regulation. They definitely have the opportunity to as well as they coil around the site. J9 with the first frag takes down Anthony, and this is going to blow the site wide open. But Rudy's ready, gets back with the SMG-11 onto J9, down to the 2 versus 2. But everyone with wide swings trying to put all of these DG members down, but oh no, it seems as though Shuttle has a possibility to win this. He knows where the smoke player is, but he goes for the prone shot instead, thinking that Rudy would opt for the shotgun, but instead Rudy's standing flat-footed with the SMG-11 in hand, and Beast Coast now on to map point.
Two players thinking two completely different things in that situation right there. As we saw it from Rudy's perspective, he was looking way over towards the freezer hall, expecting a play to come down main and towards him from that direction. Thankfully, though, he was still able to quickly swing and correct to be able to pick up the kill, and as Stokes said, push his team up onto map point here now, potentially taking us to a map 3 if we do see it follow through. At the same time, Disrupt are looking for the comeback as well, and with 2 more rounds they can trigger OT and reignite the potential to shut this series down 2-0. Things are looking good though for BC. Like I said, only 1 more round needed for them, and they've got it on a kid's defense as well.
This is looking really, really good for Beast Coast. I mean, they're Oregon again. The dominance that they've shown throughout not only SI quals but also stage 2 of Challenger League. Everything has been going so well for them. And honestly, this is probably a call to everyone else watching this game that has to play against these guys. Whether it be inside of Challenger League or what have you. Don't take these guys to Oregon. They're actually pretty dang good at this map. They really, really are. I mean, it's not the fact that Disrupt are making any critical errors, really. I mean, it's back and forth on both sides. It just so happens that BC tends to come out on top from this defensive end. They're playing their crosses extremely well when it comes down to these clutch opportunities. Disruptor's still able to disrupt things when it comes down to it, but I mean, Beast Coast just seem to find their stride inside of these 1v1s. It seems as though almost every single opportunity where it comes down to a 1v1 clutch, Beast Coast is winning it out more often than not.
Let's see if Beast Coast can win out that one final round that's now needed for them to shut out this map and take us to our third and final one on Villa. Disrupt is out for the attack. Quite a few of their players going to work towards small tower at the start here, but a larger group is also working its way into big tower. So quite a few options remaining open here for Disrupt. Not committing to anything just yet, but it does look like your typical attic take, which will more than likely be combined with White Stairs pressure or possibly Master pressure, depending on how they want to play it.
Okay, well, Disrupt out onto the field. Still have read on Sam Fisher, so be looking for those Sam cams to have an impact on this roam game. But in typical Disrupt fashion, just going to stick to the drone game earlier on. They want to make sure that they know what these roamers are and they can possibly have some influence over them. But for BC, it seems to be a full dedication of that roam game downstairs. They want to play this close to the chest and make sure that these BC members are safe. No early picks go into the pockets of Disrupt. They want to try and make this as difficult as possible for them. But as we've seen from Disrupt, they're actually very, very good at clearing the roam game. And as well as with these cameras coming in, I mean, that's going to be the big game changer. As long as they're able to keep intel on what's happening on these flanks, I don't see BC having too much of an impact.
Well, missing the opportunity there to spot a player out, but thankfully still catches a glimpse of said player just before the camera gets shot. So not going to lose too much out of that scenario here. In fact, he's trying to set someone up in a similar situation. And hi, Rudy.
Okay.
He's got a double kill all of a sudden all up here in attic. Oh, and it's dropped the diffuser as well. Wow. Pretty massive picks here from Rudy. Nicely done. Once again, big impact for Beast Coast and might have just started at least to seal the deal on this map with those two pickups.
Like 90% positive that he simply just stepped out of attic through the hard destruction and just killed both of them. So what a play, man. I mean, that's when it's time to make a play, sometimes the silly things work. And that's exactly what happened here for Rudy. No one had really been aggressive towards big tower, so he opts to this time around. And that could be, the nail in the coffin that's needed to put Disrupt away here on Oregon. It's a 3 versus 5 right now. They'll have to clutch things up. And taking NJR off the field especially is going to be a big game changer. Retro's already gotten his job done. The sad news is, though, is that his drones are going to be stuck wherever they are for the rest of the round.
J9 and Shuttle going to be the two-man team working to push their way through the attic and get into the kids area here. As they work their way around, they're not going to find much in the way of immediate resistance because a lot of that is focused inside of small, trying to fend off the window push. But there we go. All they need to do is swing into it to commit to it. A 1-for-1 exchange will be how this execute starts off. J9 does get the trade, but he's shortly going to fall afterwards to sip it in the corner. Who gets the final kill as well? That's going to be Beast Coast shutting it down here in round 11 and forcing us onto map number 3 on Villa.
Man, I'm telling you, we have some really, really good analysts, folks. I mean, they're guessing everything. Beast Coast takes a second map and is going to force us on over to Villa. Villa between these two teams, I mean, it can really go any way. Villa is a map where that roam game is definitely going to have some influence. So I want to see if maybe DG opts to pick up Sam Fisher again. Some crazy stuff could possibly happen. I don't really know, John. I'm very, very excited for what the future holds, though.
Well, all the answers are just a few minutes away, folks. Stick with us when we come back from our next break. We're going to be getting ourselves ready for the final map of this series. Stick with us for more action here at the SI Qualifiers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. And the deed has been done. Beast Coast were able to get the win on Oregon. So, fellas, Jesse, Jacob, this means we're going to go to a tiebreaker map. I don't know who's going to win, and I'm excited.
I don't know who either, but the thing is, Beast Coast are now proving that they can absolutely go the distance when it matters. A big thing that they were doing in Challenger League was beating teams before they had a chance to respond, but now this map proves that they can hang in there with some of the best fraggers in North America, and the fact that we're forcing a map 3 shows they're in it for the long haul.
Yeah, some really impressive stuff coming from Beast Coast, and I'll be honest, I was one of the doubters. I didn't think they could do it, but here they go. Took them 11 rounds, but they got the job done, as you said, sending us to a map number 3, and I think they can be proud of how they played. Some really big, rounds coming in here, particularly some, like, 1v1s very late. Thought Rudy did a fantastic job, but at the end of the day, they were winning those rounds and they were closing out, and that was really encouraging to see, especially from a team that we all posed as a huge underdog.
And if you guys want to know how much of an optimist Jesse wasn't to this Beast Coast win, he
That's
said,
very true.
he said, I mean, it took them 11 rounds, but they still won.
got it.
Okay,
Yep.
Jesse. But hey, take a look at the stats. I mean, this wasn't like lopsided in either way at all. Disrupt Gaming, everyone almost has the same amount of kills. I mean, still, you got Shuttle and Jan, I know, at the top with 9. We look at Beast Coast and Rudy once again popping off 13 and 5, man. And speaking about Rudy, Jacob, we saw him in some we saw Rudy in situations that were crazy. Plays were being made, peaks were happening where we were all screaming, "What are you doing?" But he still made magic happen.
Yeah, he is the opportunist, the ultimate opportunist, someone who can take advantage of those really rare moments where you probably shouldn't be winning your gunfights or even going for ill-advised peaks, but at the end of the day, he's sitting at the top of the scoreboard for BC at 13 and 5. Now, it's not a role that he really was playing in the last map or in the previous series yesterday, where he was a little bit more, tethered to the bomb site as opposed to needing to go anyplace else. But in this case, he still has all of those frags coming to him because this map slowed down considerably more than map number 1. Rounds took a lot longer to actually get an attacking execute towards a bomb site, and once you're in the last 20 seconds, who's the guy you got to contend with? Rudy, and 13 kills to show for it at the end of map number 2 meant that he was just in the right place at the right time and had his crosshair exactly where it needed to be almost every single round.
Okay. Just because we're big Rudy fans right now from his performance, he's not off the hook yet. Jesse, what do you have to say about his ill-advised peaks, especially the one on NJR for no reason with all of his toxic
Good Lord.
babes?
I mean, I can't fault him too hard. I mean, he did make some interesting choices, but at the end of the day, man clutched out, I want to say 3 separate rounds in 1v1s. I mean, it's working for him, and I think at some of these times, maybe Disrupt are going a little bit too slow on these pushes. Sometimes they shouldn't have been in these 1v1s to begin with. But at the end of the day, like, Disrupt are giving up these 1v1s, and Rudy's taking them. He's just picking them off the tree, like, I want this one, this one, this one, and they're all going his way. I mean, he's really just taking anything that he wants, and DG are letting him have that.
Yeah, Rudy's playing like an alpha right now. But Jesse, there was one thing you were nerding out about. You were a huge fan of the first half, and now Beast Coast were able to adapt mid-round. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that the calling that was happening on those attacking rounds early on, like halfway through those rounds, was really, really nice to see. We saw in the meeting push, when they were attacking on meeting and kitchen, they were focusing on meeting for the whole time, and then just at the last second in round number 4, they shifted their focus and they just ran down the hallway to get into kitchen, and they won that round. And I thought we saw a couple of like instances of that as well. Even on defense, when they're winning those 1v1s, a lot of the time where they're winning those 1v1s is because they're playing it pretty passive. They're making sure that they hide back and they make the right decisions. And that's what a lot of this comes down to more often than not. So I'm really happy to see that from them.
Yeah, take a look at that whiteboard. Walk it now. Listen, you can talk the talk. You can say you in NAL, but it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day if you can't walk it like you talk it, right? So Disrupt Gaming, they're being taken to a 3rd map, the tiebreaker map by Beast Coast. This is something that, we really didn't expect, honestly. Now, heading into this tiebreaker map, Jacob, whoa, what should we expect, man?
I want more firepower.
Okay.
Disrupt were not able to take advantage from playing way more aggressive, and it was no more evident than when pushes took until like that last 20 to 30 seconds to really get underway. Sometimes it felt like they were playing things just a little bit too slow. So I think they need to harness a little bit of the power of Jesse's cat if they actually want an opportunity to make it to this next stage. I'm still going to hold by my prediction, however, of Disrupt winning this whole thing. I am happy I was proven right. Beast Coast take at least one map in this series, but ultimately you have so many good gunners. It's just a matter of getting your positions, watching your crossfires, and ensuring that if someone dies, you have someone else in position to get those trades. If you can trade back and forth effectively, again, go blow for blow, DG should be able to walk away with this one and head to the grand final tomorrow.
You're right, Jesse. We have to ask because we see homie every single stream. What's the cat's name?
This is Spawny, and she just knocked over my light, so I kind of had to panic when we were watching the player cams there. Almost made me pull a Veli.
Don't validity her, man.
I remember that.
Don't do it. Don't do it. So let's do some cat jams in the chat. And while that's happening, Jacob, I think you need to remind the people out there one last time what's going on with this giveaway.
Yeah, we got a giveaway running right now, courtesy of our good friends at Corsair. And if I can get thrown full screen in just a second, check out this tweet. It's my tweet. Do me a massive favor if you're on YouTube or you're watching on Twitch. If you head over to @CaliberJacob on Twitter and find this bad boy, all you have to do to win that Corsair MPX skin is follow both of the analysts on this broadcast, myself and Jesse, and reply to that tweet with why you should be watching the NASI quals. And we've gotten a lot of submissions already, but the thing is, we're looking for some funny stuff. We're looking for a lot of more interesting things that you can show us. It's not just as simple as, shall we say, just why you think you should win it. It's more about why you should be tuning in and watching. So, let me fix
what
this.
What is on your
there
screen? Jacob, this looks ghetto.
My Twitter handle.
Okay,
go there right now. Head straight over. Find that tweet and join the giveaway.
There you go.
Nice.
All right, so predictions. Let's make it fast. Let's make it quick. Let's jump right into this game because I can't wait to see the gunplay. Right, Jesse, who's gonna take this third map?
I gotta stick with my guns. I think the DG are looking good. They just need to sharpen up a little bit on Villa, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, Jacob, make it quick. Who you got?
Well, Beast Coast, like all three of these maps, we've played both of their most consistent ones in Challenger League, and we're going to get another consistent one for North America T2. Beast Coast is going to be comfortable, but DG still should win this series.
All right, well, we're going to find out right now. Stokes and Blue, take it away.
Thanks very much, Veli, and welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to dive deep into our third and final map of the series between Beast Coast and Disrupt. The final battleground is going to be Villa between these two teams. Stokes, what do we make of Villa in a match that's already been pretty fun so far, and I think it's about to get even more fun now that we move on to Villa?
Man, I love you as a commentator just because you leave questions so open-ended for me. But sometimes, oh my god, I have no idea, man. Like, Disrupt versus Beast Coast has definitely been a treat amongst these two. And I think it's just been playstyle differences that have really, you know, stood out to me between Disrupt and Beast Coast. Disrupt have done a very good job of forcing back Beast Coast on a lot of these roam games, using NJR as that spearhead and getting good intel, whereas Beast Coast have continued to catch Disrupt off guard by just how good they are at these gunfights, as well as holding these crosses on offense. It really does seem to be the battle of wits between these two. When we walk into Villa, there's a lot of different things that stand out to me, but I honestly think we truly are at that 50-50 mark. This could be either team's map. We're going to have Beast Coast on defense first, so we'll have to see how this pacing goes.
All right, guys. Well, very exciting stuff. We are going into the map now, so it's time to take a look and see which of these two teams will come out on top. Remember, this is a single elimination bracket. Only one of these two teams can move forward. The other is going to have to try again next year to qualify for SI. This is very, very brutal with regards to how these teams will be getting knocked out. So every single player should be fighting with every inch of what they can bring to the table right now. Let's take a look at the bans. Thatcher is going to be the first one getting knocked out from the attacking side.
Yeah, I don't think that it is truly a part of the SI quals unless we go to map 3, because that's where you just get the best of everybody. You know, it's what separates the men from the boys who can possibly step up to the plate and make some things happen at the most critical moment inside of possibly your Siege career. We're going to have Thatcher and Nomad, though, removed for the offense here on Villa. But again, this is a huge, huge deal for all of these players inside of this lobby.
Defender bans coming up in just a moment here. We'll take a look and see exactly who's going to be getting removed from the pool. First pick is from Disrupt here, so they get the first choice. Taking a minute on it too, but hey, it's just going to follow our normal trends here. And we'll end up seeing Valkyrie get removed out of the mix, just as she has done in the previous 2 maps. Final picks coming up here now from Beastcoast. See if we get any curveballs here for the Villa pick. And no, we won't. We've had pretty much the same defender bans there, as Wamai is going to get banned out one more time.
Well, I mean, I guess the good news is that we're going to have access to Mira here, so we could see some things happen with that. But for Villa, she has her moments, right? Like, we've seen some people start to allocate her towards AVG with a setup to actually stop a plant around the gun vault area, the vault door. But besides from that, we haven't really seen too much when it comes to, you know, play inside of like statue and trophy and things like that. Just because that site just works in a completely different way. Mira's usually, you know, in the way of the offense in the case of there could be somebody possibly playing it. If I step up to try and contest, I more than likely die because they get to pre-fire and I don't get to. I simply have to guess on when they're peeking. So that's where Mira really can have an influence over the round. So we'll have to see if they possibly try and allocate her anywhere else, but we're going to be headed downstairs towards kitchen for this. Let's get away from all those ban talks. We're starting things off downstairs. Lots of nitro cells here for the defense, but that's exactly what you expect for a kitchen setup, especially partnered with Ghost on that pulse.
And away from the setup that's going to be going down on the inside of tarps here. More than likely going to see at least a little bit of a roam game going upstairs as well. Hesitate to even call it a roam game at this point, since it's so much of an expected thing, but it fits the definition, so we'll continue to use it here as they reinforce that triple wall upstairs. Hopefully, Beastcoast is going to be able to continue to hold the ground here because the top-down control is so important. If Disrupt is able to get that early on, they're going to have basically unlimited time to work their sledge as well as their other soft breachers to really just detail out the entire floorboards and figure out what Beastcoast are setting up downstairs. So the roam game is going to be focused on trying to prevent that from all means throughout the course of this round, or at least try to prevent it for as long as humanly possible.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the main game plan is for these Beast Coast members, especially with Malusi along for the ride. They'll be able to delay quite some time, and Sippin as well with that backpack on Vigil. So hopefully he can annoy a couple of drones rolling on around. But for Disrupt, it doesn't seem as though they want to try and go for Master just yet. They'd much rather start on the south side of the map, and I can't exactly blame them. There's no setup over here from Beast Coast, but there necessarily shouldn't be. I mean, obviously we've had some roamers be over here before on this kind of a setup, but it's usually a fallback plan in the making where they'll fall back and try and get some assistance from the members inside of Statue and Trophy. But as of right now, BC's still in a really solid spot. The only thing is that Disrupt has already cut the map in half. You can see from their map control that Ghost is going to be able to read the situation quite well. It's up to these defenders upstairs, though, to respond.
JR looking for an entry, trying to spam in back towards Astro, but instead gets a shot from Sippin instead, who makes a run out from the master doorway and finds the lineup to counter the push from NJR. First kill of the round, gonna go to Beast Coast.
Good stuff so far as Beast Coast just evacuates the upstairs. They don't have to worry about too much. They'd much rather transition downstairs and have the defenders on site play with those nitro cells. They still have 2 artillery shells waiting in those pockets to try and see if they can land some Disrupt members. I'd possibly see how that works out. But with the roam game now transitioning all the way to the basement, Beast Coast are on the full passive play. This is a turtle setup to see how Disrupt can possibly respond to this. They still have plenty of drones, though, to be able to work this around. But the main issue is that Ghost is going to continue to feed this information. Any of the moves that they make upstairs are going to be read out back to the members of BC. So this is really going to be the most drastic moment inside of this round for Disrupt. They have to get these picks on these anchor positions.
We continue to see the round timer tick down. Disrupt continues to look for their own opportunities to make this work. Sippin actually not realizing they hadn't hopped in just yet as he sees that shot or two coming through, is trying to fire through the smoke there to actually deal with the Selmas, as I quickly correct myself there. They are going to spot out Sippin and his trickery here, after he gets the second one, but that's the problem. It's already too late. All the Selmas are gone, and he's going to be able to destroy yet another one here. The utility's been completely denied, and Sippin can now safely back away. There's not really a point to him being here anymore.
No, not at all. And with such minimal time left, I mean, this is practically unwinnable for Disrupt unless something drastic happens. Retro's going to try and walk his way in, hits a nice flick onto China, and actually walks away with his life, trying to force his way back in, but he's got case control and he's been downed. They'll try to pick that up as Disrupt is forcing their point, walking into sight, but it's all up to Sippin as he shuts down the case, drops from upstairs. They've completely ignored the roam game, and that's exactly what Beast Coast wants. Give us that first round as they make a very, very large point to start us off here on Villa.
Great work again coming out from Sippin within that round, specifically to hold back over on the pantry stairs where he's able to deny the hard breach attempts onto the pantry wall itself, and then comes in as the hero in the late round there too to confirm those last couple of kills. Beautifully played by him, and a very well-deserved first round pickup, not leaving DG with really any options at all for a clean execute, so they have to force the issue, and it is shut down in that situation as you would pretty much expect.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, that was just beautifully played by Beast Coast. I mean, Disrupt had a really, really good lead off. They wanted to try and clear out from Study side over, and that's usually a really good plan when it comes to an a defense like this. You get good pressure on the upstairs players, keep a player around the master balcony just in case anyone wants to try and rotate in there to find some safe harbor while you are pushing them back, and then usually you want your other straggler, right, or your flank watch to be over near that astronomy window. That would cut off all of the avenues of them leaving. So for Disrupt, they did a very, very good job of setting that up. They just ran into issues when it came to Beast Coast information game. They weren't exactly ready for them to have a beat on the situation at top red, and Beast Coast just made mincemeat out of them. There was really nothing that they could do. They got the leadoff pick that they needed. They immediately leave, and Disrupt are left, completely empty-handed. I mean, yeah, now you have map control, but now not only are you down a member, you weren't able to get the refrag, and there's still a lot of nitro cells to the point where you're practically walking on a field full of mines upstairs.
Bozo doing some reconstruction of his own here to see if he can trap anyone, and more importantly, so that he might be able to deal with any attempts to work through the hard breach here, if he still is going to be able to have an angle onto that. Even better, could take down a player or two in the process as well. So a lot to be used from Fozo's position if he's going to be able to utilize it to the fullest extent. As we take a look at the Disrupt camp, however, they are going to be working their way in on a south to north clear, with J9 and NJR leading the charge, already clearing out the AVG side of the map, and at the moment working on getting themselves out to the top of red stairs.
Well, trophy stat defense here for Beast Coast. No pulse this time around, but still a strong roam game. Ghost all the way in the basement. Sippin currently inside of living room. So Sippin's more than likely going to be the first point of contact on this roam game, as the drones mostly centralized around the upstairs area for Disrupt. Currently worried about Boar as well as benches working their way inside, but nothing really else allocated anywhere. They still have Fozo downstairs, so it seems as though for right now, not too much action happening. Rudy continuing to exist inside of Astronomy, but Disrupt just not moving forward, seeing if Beast Coast are going to be the first ones to make a critical error.
JR doing a bit of a double take there as he checks out his teammate, but quickly going to be able to resume his push to the inside of the site here, although it may not be as clean as he's hoping. There is another red outline that I could see just around the corner from the swing, so Beast Coast may be looking to take an aggressive stance against this push from the inside of Connector yet again. Let's wait and see, though. Disrupt still have over a minute remaining, so this might be a little bit too premature for their actual push. Still just kind of holding the angles, possibly working on clearing out the roam game a little bit here as well. But Sippin maintains in the living room. He's actually going to go for a nitro play. Could work out. Very, very close. Is it going to connect? Oh, just short, unfortunately. Although it does deal massive damage to the overall health pool of J9.
That could be quite the hindrance, but usually we see those leadoffs happen by NJR, so we'll see if he jumps to the front of the pack or exactly what happens here. But minimal time left for decision making. Disrupt have to act. Only plans going so far. Shuttle's going to get one, but actually not going to get traded. That's what I thought was going to happen, but he gets two instead. It's going to be back and forth, but what else will we expect between these two rosters? Down to Fozo after the dust settles for Beast Coast into 1 versus 3. J9 will pick himself up instead. Still looking for one, but he can't even get Retro. Retro sweeps Fozo under the rug, and Disrupt claim their first round on offense.
Retro with actually a very important kill right there, too, as if he's not in that position. If he's watching Astro or somewhere else, just as an example, he's going to move through that and potentially find both of the players in connector for free, as they were mid-revive at that point. So very, very important that that gets shut down there. Otherwise, we would have ended up in a 1v1, and he, well, wouldn't have had a choice. He would have had to get that kill at that point. So another successful round, this time in the favor of DG. However, that's going to send us on to a repeat of the round we just watched up here at Trophy and Statuary, as Beastcoast is going to make another run for it.
Yeah, Beastcoast with some decision making here. They flashed Aviator Games first, so obviously that was probably the initial thought was, hey, okay, we should just transition away. We don't want to deal with this again, but more than likely something was raised up in conversation where they felt as though they could make an adjustment to win this round. So let's see what they exactly do. Off rip here, it seems as though they're going to be a little bit more aggressive with their Banshee placement on Sippin. We see a Banshee centralized around the benches area. It just seems as though they think that Disrupt is going to repeat how they attacked this site prior, so they're just setting up for that. So we'll see really what Disrupt want to do here. They can they can obviously start their take from study and then work towards the north side, but there's a lot of options. I mean, with the utility that they have, there's truly not, you know, a wrong way to do this. They can still go master balcony or study or, you know, fight the roam game. There's so many things.
You're not excused, by the way.
I'm not excused?
No, you're not excused.
Well, I asked for it nicely.
Sorry. Well, sometimes the answer is no.
Oh, come on, Dad.
All right, guys, let's take a look at this round here.
You sound like my father. I'm just
We've got Disrupt once again going for the south to north clear, as a couple players already repelled up on the balcony in the study here, and we'll be entering it. It's our dynamic duo that'll be doing this job as well, both NJR and J9. Actually just got a bit lucky in catching Sippin with the drone there, because if not, one of them could have found themselves dead a couple seconds later. Sippin getting spotted out, though, does fall back quickly into the depths of library and eventually living room downstairs, where he's probably going to continue the roam game until later on in the round.
very strong start for both of these teams. Good read by Disrupt. So Sippin will fall back, but already stepping back up, it seems, as he really wants to get in the faces of these Disrupt members, but more than likely just making sure to be a nuisance. That's the job as a roamer. You want to make sure to waste as much time as possible, even if it isn't getting a kill. Shoot a couple of drones, stay alive, and try and get that timer weaned down as much as possible. Beastcoast now ready for an engagement on red stairs. They're trying to slow down Disrupt every which way that they can. Fozo's going to have some big opportunities here as well, since he is going to be mute. He'll have a nitro cell that he could possibly use on benches from down low, so that's exactly what he's going to do. He'll move back down into tarps and see if he can get any possible sound cues or any information from his other members. We see the Banshee still set up here, though. They're more than likely going to get rid of this with some explosives, just because they don't want to risk that just being a sound cue upstairs.
Reloading.
Uncross given out there as the opening fight is given to Disrupt, but they're not able to make any impact upon it there as Anthony eventually backs away. I believe he was the one that took the duel anyway from the inside of the statuary door. Not going to be able to do that again, because now Retro maintains position on the inside of Master Bedroom, and we'll be able to cut that off should another attempt be made. Retro actually getting a lot of free vision over to the other side towards Trophy too. A bit unlucky he doesn't actually catch anything, but had they not been paying attention to that, would have been another free kill. I do believe that it's been realized, though, by Beastcoast, so they're more than likely avoiding peeking up there for that exact reason. Sippin also trying to get in the way of that repel over on Astro, but probably not going to see much for that for some time. Ozo is now the player holding it downstairs in the living room here, looking to fend off any of the pushes that might go through that preset placement. The problem is his opponents know it's there as well, and they're going to be able to land the shots on him much quicker than he can do the same to them.
And Disrupt have opted for the measure twice, cut once, instead of just trying to bull force their way in. They'll finally equalize after a trade comes through for Retro. J9 and Sippin both down. Retro still taking some damage from the smoke, but he follows that out with a kill onto Anthony. Good stuff to lead us off inside of Statuary. Rudy with the shotgun takes down two. Big shots coming through for him. It's all left up to Reed swinging in from Astronomy, but it's actually going to be a down for him as Fozo kills him instead. Beastcoast pick up their second round on defense, and John, this is starting to feel like a game. I don't think that this is going to be Disrupt just walking away with this series.
Certainly not going to be the case. They'll have to fight for their placement at SI. Not even to mention that this is only the semifinals. There's still the match tomorrow against whoever wins our next series after this too. So the competition surely heating up here And neither of these teams want to give it up on this final map. They want to go through to tomorrow. They want to play out that best of 5, and they want the spot to go to SI for NA here. So let's take a look at how the AVG hold is going to go now that Beast Coast are going to rotate after a successful defense.
Oh man, this is just making me want land back so bad. We're seeing these crazy plays today already coming out. I just wish there was a crowd to back it up. But we'll get there sometime, hopefully in the near future, folks. Never know. But world climate and all that good stuff doesn't matter, though. We got some good Siege to watch, and that's really all that matters to me. I'm here to have a good time and see Disrupt versus Beast Coast, because one of these guys are moving on to the grand finals tomorrow. We'll be finding out later today who they'll be playing up against, either Rent Free or Altiora. It's truly USA versus Canada, so I guess we're going to have to figure out who's better.
Definitely going to be the case, folks. Very rare treat as well that we managed to get a cross-regional matchup, or cross-country matchup, I suppose, with regards to our NAL and Canadian division, or excuse me, American divisions and Canadian divisions across the league here. So it's going to be a nice treat to get to watch that, because like I said, we don't see it very, very often outside of, say, the major qualifiers that we've had twice this year, with Mirage starring in both of those.
Yeah, and then Flynn lost, so
All right, you don't have to be that mean. Come on.
I mean, he did. I mean, I'm just being
yeah,
honest.
he did. You don't have to say that.
You don't have to say it. No, but actually,
Trying to be nice.
No, the series that Altiora played up against them was really, really strong. I watched the whole thing. I think that it was a very good showing. I'm excited to see what they can possibly do later up against Rent Free. I mean, Tommy and the boys have been on an absolute tear. So I honestly think that this is going to be the time for Altiora to step up and prove that they're not just another Canadian squad that just so happens to be here. I think that they can definitely make a big difference and say that Canada's here to stay. But that's for later and not for now. Right now, almost tied up in between these two teams. Beast Coast leading 2-1 right now on Villa. Into round 4 with a minute already off the clock. No real engagements just yet. A couple of drones lost for Disrupt, as they've mostly gathered their forces around the master area. They want to try and clear across here, but Beast Coast is standing in their way. We've got some Goyo shields as well as barbed wire dedicated around the area to try and assist this roam game that Beast Coast seem to want to hold on to, all up until Sippin hops over into Red Hall, leaving the Jaeger by himself. But as soon as I say that, Ghost will also dip out. So Disrupt with full north side control.
Little over half the round remaining. Things are going to grow pretty quiet here as we enter that point in the round. East Coast still looking to maintain their solid control they have over AVG, and without a lot of contention working its way towards the study side here, we're going to continue to see those positions be maintained in pretty strong fashion. Now, it may start to shift here. Retro is going to be just below the study window, so maybe trying to apply some pressure himself, and I would imagine that he wouldn't be the only one doing that if that is going to be the case, but we've had no confirmation just as of yet that those are, I should say, Disrupt's plans. It still seems like they're primarily trying to work their way through the control they've already gotten over towards Trophy and Statuary, and then eventually try to funnel that into both 90 as well as the map door in order to work their way in, or the statue door, I should say.
It's extremely interesting how both of these teams are working these maps right now. It's kind of like water and oil. You'll see the Beast Coast members transition through downstairs as soon as Disrupt is starting to move up and away from certain areas. It's just really, really weird. So make sure you guys are paying attention to these silhouettes through the walls. You can see Beast Coast still in a roam game downstairs, so there's a possibility for a red flank here that they're going to have to worry about, but very minimal time left, and this is where that roam game wants to put some pressure. They don't necessarily need to swing for the fences, though. Sippin can sit downstairs and use this nitro cell to shut down a plant on the vault door, but Disrupt still need to work their way into the building. That's why Ghost is standing outside on the top of main stairs, waiting for someone to push in through study. Smokes in now. Plant starts off. This could be the nitro cell to try and end things, but it doesn't seem as though they know where Reed is. Reed's almost done with the plant. Sippin's trying to force his way up the staircase. He finds the Ash and makes sure to burn her alive, but not before Reed gets back out. But now he's in a 1 versus 3. Rudy cleans it up, and it's not even going to matter. Beast Coast walking away with round 4.
A close one yet again as these battles continue to go down to the wire, it seems. But this time, Beast Coast holds strong on their retake and are able to quickly flush out the attack from Disrupt and maintain control for themselves. They're going to take round number 4 here. A solid defensive half starting to be put up by Beast Coast. And all that's going to be required is the follow-up on the attacking side if things continue to go in this fashion. Beautifully played. Should be a 3-1 scoreline now, I believe.
Yes, indeed, my friend. Plant down for DG. Haven't done that one just yet, but Good news is for DG is that that's now locked out and they're going to be going back to things that they've already played up against. But the bad news is that Kitchen is back open. And this is where DG ran into their initial problem. So we saw a really strong roam game, or at least a top hold. We'll call it that from now on. How about that? We'll call it a top hold for BC upstairs inside of the trophy stat area for Kitchen. And they just got their leadoff pick and immediately left the area. That's exactly what happened inside of round 1. And then for the rest of the round, Sippin had such a strong showing, not only stopping hard destruction inside of Pantry, but also getting multiple kills on site when he was needed most. So Beast Coast, and specifically Sippin, a really, really big problem for Disrupt when it comes to this site.
All right, folks, setup continuing to go down here for Beast Coast as they're going to look for their 4th round. A possible 5th could come up after this one too if they find success, as they still have 1 more round and a half after this. But that same extended setup going to be deployed upstairs here. The top hold, as we were just talking about, going to come out in form here for Beast Coast, and they'll look to deny it primarily from that master push side, as you'll see the Banshee sitting inside of the bathroom, for example, along with the 3 reinforced walls. So a lot of focused play going to be happening here. If Disrupt tries to take it the same way, they'll look to clear that out and eventually try to push their way in through the pantry wall. But that was denied very well last time, just because they had a roamer positioned at the bottom of those stairs and can quickly take out the Selma charges. So they're going to have to try and find a way around that this time if they want to attempt the same exact thing.
Well, no early round engagements here from either squad, just more biting for information and seeing where they can possibly enter the building. But for Disrupt, it seems as though they want to start downstairs, and this could actually work out for them. This could be a really, really strong lead off here. But the main issue is that Ghost, again, he has the cardiac sensor, so he's more than likely going to get some intel, but that's not going to matter. Rudy actually gets a kill on the other side of the map over in Mudroom, and that's going to be cased down as well. This is going to be a huge issue for DG if Rudy knows what he's done.
NJR finds the response to that, however, is he's going to be able to take down Anthony. That's the Cade getting knocked out there. And it'll bring us back down into a 4v4. Ghost also going to take some heat here too. Caught with the heartbeat sensor still out there. Shuttle will take him down as Disrupt is making their mark known within round number 5 here by finding these early picks. The question that I'm going to resound to now is where the response is at. It's got to come from Sippin or possibly someone else here. Sippin trying to get aggressive on the lurk here against the hold that's now been established in the basement, but NJR very much ready for this. He's going to be able to get his 2nd on the round as he shuts out Sippin and brings Beast Coast down to only Rudy and Fozo.
NGR has continued to impress throughout this series, and so has Disrupt as they close out round 5 in resounding fashion. Had such a strong hold around the site, not allowing a single anchor any safe harbor, even worrying about the roamers downstairs. So it seems like they truly have learned from their mistakes. That's exactly what we would expect from a pro league caliber roster. Great adjustments here for DG to take that round. It's up to BC now to step up to the plate and get this last round in the bag. They need this 4-2 split transitioning into their offenses. We saw some really, really strong stuff from them as on Clubhouse as well as over on Oregon. So I still feel as though, you know, even if they do end up tying this 3-3, that not only is there a chance for overtime, but there is indeed a chance for them to close this out.
Well, let's take a look here and see what the next setup is going to look like. We're back over to Trophy Stat for the final round here as Beast Coast looks to solidify that 4th and final round. At the same time, Disrupt looks to tie it back up now at a 3-3 scoreline. This has been a very, very intense match so far. We've had some very, very one-sided rounds and very, very close rounds as well. Like we were saying before, both these teams wanting to fight truly to the bitter end to try and take control of this matchup, because like we said, these qualifiers are single elimination only. So if you mess up, you'll lose that single series. That is it. Your chances of going to SI are gone entirely, and you'll have to wait until next year to try it again.
That's a long time.
Can't state enough how important this match is for these teams.
Yeah, exactly. This is the ultimate thing to be a part of inside of Rainbow Six. Like, personally speaking, the first time that I got to touch the stage truly for SI, you know, it's a very emotional thing. That's something beautiful to be there and actually, you know, be a part of that broadcast, be a player, be whatever. It's truly something that is a once in a lifetime experience. Everyone wants to be there. Both of these teams want to be there for North America. We just have to figure out who it's going to be. Somebody has to go to that last match tomorrow on Sunday to see who can possibly go to the Six Invitational. Starts right now, though. It's at around 6. Beast Coast still in the lead. They want to try and close out this defense hard here, get this last round, and make this a 4-2 split as Disrupt transitions. But as of right now, Disrupt starting things off over on the study side. Pretty slow beginnings here as they continue to work this information game. And this has been practically the start for them throughout the series so far, really leaning on that drone game early on to make sure that Beast Coast can't have that large of an impact with the roamers.
To see J9 and NJR once again, that dynamic duo that I talked about before, quickly working their way to the inside of study. Actually, at the moment, waiting for a response to come in from the defenders that they want to just swing aggressively against it, but that's not going to happen. So they're going to be able to get access to that pretty easily. There's actually not much in terms of a roam game here on this side of the map at all. When you take a look at it, things are much more focused on the downstairs hold for Beast Coast here. So Disrupt's actually not going to have much of a problem whatsoever getting the full access to 90 and eventually clearing this out, despite the commitment of quite a bit of utility and reinforcements here from the defense.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this works for them. Yeah, as you were saying, there's quite a bit of utility over there, but it seems as though it's mostly just Banshees. So this could possibly work out for them if they do have the utility to back this up from their site play. Giving this up, especially like halfway through, isn't necessarily that big of a deal. That's usually the golden time for roamers to start to back up is 1:30. Half the round's gone. You can go back and start trying to assist your team. And if you have a pick, that's even better. Ghost misses out on one, unlucky enough, though, as soon as I mention it. But not going to be punished for that in the slightest. So less than a minute now for Disrupt to make some harsh decisions. It looks like they want to try and force things through on the study side as of right now, but NJR begins to rotate downstairs. He's already pushed up to Mud as DG leads off with 2 big kills, but it's mostly Retro from inside of Master. Could possibly go for 3, but it's all pre-fires for right now and all smiles for the rest of the DG members.
I was talking before about how Retro was able to get pretty easy access to that door and how that could become dangerous. And we finally saw an example of that, but I'm going to shut up for a sec because Ghost has shown up out of absolutely nowhere with a double. And it's also dropped the case, arguably more importantly here. Disrupt is in a bad spot now because they're going to have to quickly run back and retrieve that, as well as the fact they only have 15 seconds to make this play. This has to go well, and this has to go well now. Otherwise, Beast Coast are going to take this round after all. There's a pick from Fozo. Rudy gets one as well. All down to Reed here now in the 1v2 scenario after he finds the pick onto Rudy, but he's not going to be able to take it any further. Ghost cuts him off. The hero of the round shuts it down, and Beast Coast get a 4th at the end of the half.
Well, Ghost, I can tell you right now, your wife's going to be happy with that one. That was some insane gameplay from him. We didn't even see the flank come, and the guy practically spawns right next to the Disrupt members and is able to take down 2, and then eventually 3. Great triple kill from him, and desperately needed at that moment in time, especially with those 2 lead-off kills from Retro. Usually we're accounting for those first bloods, which are, the big frags. Get your entry into sight, start putting some pressure on, but to start things off with 2 kills, especially on-site kills, that's a massive game changer. So the fact that they were actually able to get some refrags, and not only that, get both the refrags required to make things a 3 versus 3, as well as get the case down, those are things that cannot go unanswered by the offense, and that's exactly why Beast Coast was able to wrap things up with a bow there in the dying minutes of that one. But now that's going to hit our transition period, folks. Disrupt now on over to defense. Beast Coast on offense. Disrupt starting things off here with an AVG hold.
Going to be seeing some more interesting stuff from the attacker's perspective as well. Beast Coast are going to be bringing a Ying to the table right from the first round here as Anthony is going to prop that up. So we'll see how well those Candelas are going to allow for potentially a quick or at least a bursting entry from the Beast Coast roster. They more than likely will use those to try to take control of the site itself. Away from that, nothing crazy happening here, both in the operator department and in the setup department so far. AVG, much like a lot of the other sites right now, has been played out quite a bit, so we don't end up seeing too many huge variations besides just 1 or 2 small details. The big difference coming in right now is the addition of the mirror, which is obviously going to help out Disrupt quite a bit.
Yeah, it's definitely something. This is like, how do I put this? This is like half of the old Mira setup along with some of a new Mira setup. So like the old way was like you would leave this panel that this Mira window is on soft and then put it to the right, but everyone realized that sucked because of the crosses that you can hold from the windows.
Yeah.
So everyone stopped doing that. But what we've seen Mira utilized more for now is if you take that mirror that we were just looking at and move it 1 to the left onto a hard panel, that's how they've been mostly stopping a lot of the plants on Vault Door with Mira in play. But for this, they've centralized all of this to play around Study and try and prevent Beast Coast from working their way in. With that one soft wall there that Reed has next to his Mira that he was just playing, you can actually utilize that from both Miras. So that makes a really, really nice cross here for all of the DG members, whoever's going to be allocated on that spot.
Now, they will see that it's kind of weak right now in the fact that Fozo's drone just got in there, spotted that they didn't actually have anybody playing on it, but that's going to change right now, so they've already lost the opportunity to take action on that. Either way, we've got Beast Coast taking things nice and slow at the start of this round here. The drone work being focused primarily on seeing what's going on, especially downstairs, too. They want to make sure there's not as much of a roam game trying to get into the way of these guys, because they definitely want to use it on Disrupt's side of things. You can see Shuttle and NJR playing around the red stairs, vying for some type of control that they could possibly use against the front push, but they just haven't been able to rationalize it yet. Away from that, usual focus, though, on areas like Study and the top main stair. Reed's also going to have to deal with a few more issues now, as it looks like part of his wall into bar has been breached out there.
Well, Beast Coast slowly trudging forward here, down to 1 minute and 10 seconds. Still have plenty of utility to use across the board. Lots of secondary utility still alive, but the problem is now they've ran out of drones. Getting some good damage off onto the defense, but honestly, not too much. It's really just off onto Reed, and really didn't even take too much away from him being that 3 armor. Lots of map control still to worry about, and that's going to be the big problem. But now Rudy with a prone angle towards 90 gets rid of J9. Still worried about some site players, but it's Candela's in now, so more than likely an attack going in. And Ghost is actually going to get a really big kill. Follow that up with 2 onto the gun vault player. Fozo as well following through. All of this happening so quickly. NJR, the last remaining member. Beast Coast making me run out of breath.
And JR is still looking to try and do something here in the 1v4, but ultimately he's going to run himself into the gauntlet as he goes over that shield. Beast Coast shut it down, take round 7 for themselves, and are one step closer to that final tomorrow, where they could very well be the qualified team for North America out of these LCQs going into SI 2021.
Oh, this is so very scary for Disrupt right now. They only have one more missed opportunity in order to course correct this and force to overtime, because the way that BC are playing right now, this offense is extremely, extremely strong. They're especially inside of that last round, they made so many things happen in just an instant. I was not even ready for them to execute. I saw the Candelas come in, but then things were, still very slow. Like, they really hadn't worked their way into sight. It seemed the Candelas were just a touch too early, but then we see them immediately force their themselves not only into bar, but into planes at the exact same time and get all of the leadoff kills needed in order to get a plant down. Fozo picking up frags as well. I mean, just so many positive things happening for Beast Coast there. It was almost impossible for them to lose that.
We're going to take a look, see if there's anything crazy going on with Disrupt setup here after they try to use that Mira setup. Unfortunately, does not end up working out too well into their favor there. Never really got a chance to use it to begin with, if we're being really fair towards it, as the walls got torn down so quickly. But either way, not get to be used in the way that they would have hoped here. Things looking pretty normal on the site itself, and again, we've got that extended roam presence that's going to be deployed over here on the inside of AVG so that they can continue to deny the south to north player. That is going to be the opening strategy from Beast Coast to get some additional map control.
It maybe? Question mark? This is
could be direct master.
Yeah, could be a direct master. We could be inserting quite quickly here, John. We're about to find out, though. I mean, I don't think that Beast Coast are exactly scared to do it. I would just think that up against Disrupt, that probably wouldn't be the greatest idea. So they're more than likely just going to clear out the roamers down low and see if they can get some pressure in here. Simply because it does seem as though Disrupt are mostly centralized, or their thought process is, Beast Coast taking from Study instead. So this is an opportunity for Beast Coast to really shake things up on Disrupt and completely catch them off guard. The bad thing is that there's no real opportunity to force their will without it being read out from Disrupt, simply because of the utility. I mean, Banshees and everything alike, it's now extremely difficult to make something extremely sneaky happen early on inside of Rainbow.
They had, and still do to a certain extent, the capability to go for a really quick, bathroom and Astro pinch here to try and squeeze out the defenders in that part of the map, but it seems like that opportunity is probably going to be lost over the next couple seconds now that it's become more obvious they're pushing in from this direction. The roamers that are set up towards AVG probably going to slowly start drifting back, so their opportunity has waned a bit in that respect, but regardless, that could still be the intended goal, and even with full presence from the defenders in that area, could end up working out regardless here, as Beast Coast is now finished clearing out the large majority of the first floor. Obviously, they haven't dealt with Piano Room or Reed as that specifically, but it seems like he may force the issue anyway, because he's now lurking over towards those red stairs.
Well, he's going to have to. The longer he waits to make an impact, the more Beast Coast gets done. That's exactly why NJR is getting aggressive to the bottom of Astro as well. They have to slow down Beast Coast somehow, as since they've dedicated utility other places, they can't exactly assist themselves in that matter. They might as well go for kills instead. NJR is going to have a really nice setup here, though, on the Astronomy stairs, to be able to try and hold things down. But Bozo, once again, picks up the first kill here for Beast Coast, and already in the lead, 5v4, shutting down Shuttle.
Anthony potentially going to take a fight here against the player over on Astro Stairs, and actually NJR did move up a bit. Thankfully, he's got a teammate right here because he actually just saved his life there. If Anthony had committed to that, might have found himself a dead man, even with the Candelas going out. NJR is going to have to turn around quickly, though, as he sees the grenade roll in, but it's actually not what he thought it was. It looks like it gets dealt with. The hop-in happens. NJR holds for the first kill, but can't maintain for the second. However, Retro, still on the inside of Trophy, is able to pick up the kill on Anthony, regardless, to keep the numbers in Disrupt's favor. It's down to Rudy, and now, scratch that, just Fozo now, alone here in the 1v3, trying to clutch out this round, and he can't get it done. Disrupt claim round number 8. They're not out of this just yet either.
That was a really, really strong round from the anchor players here, especially around the Astronomy play. I mean, Retro with a great supporting angle from Trophy there that really sealed the deal for that round overall. So staying in this, and this is where they're going to need to continue to link these rounds together. All of these defenses are so very important for the further rounds. They need to complete this site triangle just to tie things up. And then they have to go back and try and see, get 2 more rounds if they want to try and close this out inside of regulation. So right now we're going to be headed towards a kitchen defense off the back of some fantastic plays from DG. BC catching them off guard early on, though, and was able to get a decent amount of map control, got some nice pickups there. But again, it really was down to what happened inside of Astronomy. They could not dislodge NJR. And from that point on, it was really just the NJR and Retro show. Retro, again, making some fantastic plays from inside of sight. It seems as though they've awoken the beast.
Certainly seems like that's the case. Disrupt at reason to be upset now. They're falling behind in a match that a lot of people would have considered theirs from the get-go. Can't take that easily, so they're going to look to battle back into this here now. And at the same time, Beast Coast going to look to try and shut this one down. Only 2 more rounds away from ending it. Disrupt just 2 rounds away from tying it now. Couldn't really be closer if we asked, but Disrupt need to stay awake. They need to keep picking up these rounds, otherwise we could still be looking at a Beast Coast victory. They're going to be spawning out in just a second here. We still have that upstairs hold. Obviously, this is going to be a kitchen defense, so top clear is still going to be a necessity for Beast Coast if they want to be successful in taking control of this, and of course getting that case down onto the ground without getting peppered from shots from above.
I mean, listen, same, but different. This is built a little bit different, John. We got some reinforcements, moving around here, some spots that we don't necessarily see too much. We got all of Astronomy wall reinforced, John. 2 mute jammers on it. They don't want anybody to be inside of this area. We got Banshee shields, everything else dedicated here. They've made a bunker upstairs, and it's all to make sure that they can try and contest this vertical play from Beast Coast coming in. Beast Coast is going to have a very easy time getting master control, but everything from that moment on is going to be extremely difficult. They can't get this Astronomy wall open at all. They don't have Thatcher or anything else to try and deal with that. So they're going to have to try and funnel to deal with these players. Disruptor have already accounted for anything on the back end. You can see Shuttle playing down low with the staircase as well. There's so many options for not only the Disrupt members to disengage from any engagements going upstairs, but a lot of opportunities for frags as well.
Replace Nitro on the connector going into Astro as well, so a lot of play potential for Disrupt to try and trap out Beast Coast. Even if they just want to commit to a clear here, not even if they just want to get into the room itself. Ghost eventually going to be walking into that Nitro Cell trap momentarily. He does see how strong the setup is, and for the time being is going to give respect to that, but I think he actually realizes what's sitting below the floor there, catches it out. There's one of his breaching charges that should have dealt with it, but can't deal with that, unfortunately. NJR and now Reed as well, picking up the 2 openers. Reed coming in for the assist on the back of Astro there, as they shut down both the attempts to clear out the inside of it, and now they're going to abandon it as they no longer need to hold this. They've got it down to a 5v3, so they can focus entirely on just the site hold.
Oh man, I absolutely love it. If you're a tactician of Siege and you have to sit here and be nerdy about your setups, that right there was just so well done from Disrupt. Great stuff, and they still have so much utility to make sure that they know exactly what Beastcoast are doing. This is basically already over unless they're able to get some huge frags on site. I mean, as long as J9 is allowed to exist, they really don't have an opportunity to do anything that'll be suspenseful. I mean, Rudy being here could possibly get some frags towards Kitchen, but also could be read out. It seems as though they know that he's could possibly be here. We see him, you know, finagling back and forth over here inside of Kitchen, but it's mostly just passive gameplay for now for Disrupt.
J9 continuing to very carefully try and place his shots here. More importantly, place his own positioning. The nade's coming down against him as well. To force him out of his spot, trying to fire out, but the fire is coming from up top, not from the inside of Laundry. Bozo gets a second kill after we see NJR going down, and he gets a personal second to take down Reed. The plant is suddenly going down onto the ground. How have Disrupt flubbed this? Bozo gets another one now. That's a triple as he takes down Retro. Shuttle's left alone here in the 1v3, and he doesn't have a great position to retake from either. Stuck outside of Red at the bottom of Astro stairs. He's going to try to swing over towards White Tarps, but even there, he's not safe. There's a player to his hard right that he's going to have to check for on the inside. Does he spot it? Yes, he does, but it doesn't matter. Bozo gets the quad, and Beastcoast take round number 9.
You can't take anything away from them, John. They deserve this. They deserve to be here. Beastcoast bringing it to Disrupt Gaming when it matters most. Again, we talked about this before this match even started. Opportunities like this is where we separate the men from the boys. Right now, Beastcoast are just knocking the lights out of Disrupt Gaming. A 3v5 DG have everything in their back pocket after that amazing setup upstairs inside of Astronomy, but that didn't even matter. They end up flubbing it when it comes to Beastcoast and their pure aggression towards site, but mostly Fozo. A quad kill for him when it seemed like all was lost. We were going to go to the next round. Disrupts almost tying things up 5-4. All of a sudden, Beastcoast comes out of nowhere. They pick up the round 6-3 right now in their favor. They are one round away from punching their ticket to the finals here in the SI qualifiers.
Such a solid hold on the extended play upstairs in Astro as well to get them the early 2 kills, but it seemed to have mattered not, as Fozo, along with the rest of Beastcoast, are able to turn that round back on its heels and claim number 6 for themselves. We go to Living Room now. Disrupt really extending the strat book out here to try and get them those 3 rounds that they need to close down this map, and at this point, take it to OT and try still to win this series. Beastcoast are going to be on map and match point, though, and they've got 3 opportunities to close it down.
Just like to throw this out there. Before that quad kill, Fozo was 4-1-4. So that guy pulled some straight Naruto hand signs out or something, and that was just something incredible.
Leveled up for sure.
Exactly. It was just, you know, One Punch Man. He was just laying everybody out. It was something out of a storybook for sure. But oh no. They're going to immediately hop in downstairs. Retro's here to try and deal with all of them, but they're also going to have a team kill, which is going to make things extremely awkward. Sippin's going to try and transition over for a kind of a different positioning here. Bozo still has library locked down, but Sippin's worried about the player that could possibly be inside the living room area. He sees NJR here, but this seems to already have been planned for BC on these living room holds. They just immediately hop inside of the bathroom, but that flubbed kill is going to be the equalizer that's going to decide what happens here. They're actually on equal footing, but Sippin starts the plant. This is going to be a huge deal as Disrupt are going to be forced for the retake. Oh, no. They hear the hatch. They were ready for it, but J9's just that much better. Plant doesn't go off. He'll go for 2. He needs to find Sippin. This will be the biggest clutch of his life if he's able to get it. It's a 1 versus 3. Still has plenty of time and concussions in his back pocket to try and figure out where the remaining members are. But this is more than likely going to be some slow gameplay from him. They can wrap around at any moment in time as these Disrupt members are still strung along the entire map.
Gonna try to commit it to the ground now. NJR right around the corner, ready to commit to the inside. Sippin will immediately cancel the plan upon hearing the drop from NJR. Has not overreacted, has not tried to counter swing him just yet. Sippin continuing to play this slowly. Remember, he's got over a minute. He can play off of sound intel and any other movement that his opponents make. There's the fine. He's able to lock down one of the players, but it's not enough. J90 wins out yet another 1v1, and Disrupt claim the 10th round.
Oh man, that was the move there. That was the move there for the Zofia, but just not able to get the lead off, or the initial gunfight to go his way. Instead, J9 gets the nice re-peek and is able to frag out. That's a triple kill for him, and a moment where they needed it most. I mean, without that site presence from J9, that probably goes Beast Coast's way. He's able to shut down a lot of that take and put Beast Coast into a bad spot where they have all of their members mostly dedicated to site already, and DG instead seem like the offenders. They're strung out along the map. They're able to rotate down at a moment's notice and apply some pressure from some unusual angles that the offense necessarily isn't ready for when you're going for a regular attack. They go for the rush. It doesn't work out. Now I'm assuming it's going to be back to the basics here for Beast Coast.
More than likely, yeah. Like I said, they have 3 opportunities to close this down, so this might have been a bit of an extension of their own capabilities there, trying to go for that very far-reaching strat. To be fair to them, it nearly worked. They almost managed to lock that down. If we didn't see that team kill happen, and they were able to be just like a little bit quicker to get into positioning, that very easily could have been a win for them. But
it's so unfortunate.
Yeah, like I said, just extending the strat book just a bit too far there. And as you mentioned, probably going to go back to something a bit more standard, especially since we're up against the AVG defense again.
Yeah, and their AVG attack was extremely, extremely solid. They're not going to have the Ying this time around, though, so that could be a big game changer because that seemed to really shake things up inside of site and made it difficult for Disrupt to allocate their forces correctly. I mean, they're still going to have some utility here that could be a nuisance. Mostly the concussions from Sippin, but we're more than likely going to see, possibly some burns or just maybe some deep info, on what's going on Gunfault or something along those lines with that. So Beast Coast out onto the field. They'll be starting off on the south side here, so it does seem as though they want to go about things in very similar fashion to what happened the last time.
Going to see a slow start here, which shouldn't be too surprising considering it is that AVG defense that we just talked about. Ghost and Fozo going to be some of the first to at least start peeping in at, well, what exactly Disrupt they're trying to do. Sippin will be doing the same exact thing as they look for that entry control towards areas like Art Studio and the main stair, of course, on top of the usual rappel onto the study balcony that Fozo has maintained for himself here. Going to be some time before we start to see them move in, but the drone work is being done, so some areas of the map will begin to be called as clear for the attackers here, and we'll move in and see them take that map control in time.
And time still very much on their side with 2 minutes remaining. Not too much happening early on here as Beast Coast do not want to miss a beat here. They've already established some new angles that NGR seems to be aware of. We see a breach in through the piano wall, and now they're getting rid of this barbed wire. NGR could play this very aggressively, though. That MP7 on Bandit is definitely one of the strongest SMGs in the game. Still has a Nitro Cell as well, which could cause some mayhem. This defense has been quite strong so far for Disrupt. Granted, they are starting to get pecked at, but that's about it. Beast Coast haven't really transitioned into a full-on take just yet. They're still trying to push back these DG members.
Bomb located by attackers.
NJR with the next pickup here, but it's going to be immediately traded. Here we go, folks, into the frags. I don't know if they're going to stop. Sippin got himself too as he takes down Retro right there. That's going to give Beast Coast the advantage. Remember, this is match point right here. All they need to do is shut down this round, and they'll move forward into the final tomorrow. But still, 3 more kills separate them from that. Disrupt have to be shaking right now. Oh no, that's a missed Selma, but thankfully you can just pick that up and throw it again. So not a huge loss in that department just yet. Sippin in the meantime, sending his drone over here into the bar area. Should have been able to scout out J9O's position, if not Reed's as well. So that's more intel going over into the Beast Coast camp. They're down to their last minute, 40 seconds in fact here now. They're about to wrap around, taking out the reinforcement, I should say, that's defending bar. It does look like the second one got interrupted by the impact there from J9. Regardless, that's another angle for the attackers to utilize here. Final 30 seconds. Good denial comes in as we are going to see those X-Kairos electrocuted out. Not going to be able, or excuse me, the Selma electrocuted. No, it wasn't X-Kairos. Sorry, I'm getting too excited here. Now it comes down to those final 20 seconds here. We're going to see Shuttle eliminated. Another nice pickup here from Beast Coast as Rudy finds the shutdown on the Shuttle. Reed and J9, the last players alive. They don't want to take risks, but now they have to. The plant's going down behind the gun vault. One goes down. J9 trades it. He's alone here, and he's going to get taken down. Fozo finishes it off, and Beast Coast move on into the finals of the NA Last Chance Qualifier for SI 2020.
Oh man, I know that Twitch chat is so salty about those sweet, sweet channel points, but guess what, folks? Beast Coast win it on Villa up against the Pro League level team. Disrupt gets sent home. BC on to the finals, and what an amazing series from them overall. Not only proving themselves on Oregon that they're here to play, but just making one of the biggest marks in the book when it comes down to Villa, knocking DG out and transitioning once again to that final on tomorrow. Some great stuff overall, John.
Yeah, so many crazy individual plays, so many cool rounds, so many cool setups. What a series between these two teams, both of them playing their hearts out, but unfortunately for Disrupt falling just a little bit short today. And that does mean that Beast Coast is moving on into the grand final tomorrow. They're just one more step away from qualifying for SI 2020. That's going to do it for us for now. We're going to be back for the second match, but for the time being, we're going to send it back over to our analysis desk to break down this stunning victory from Beast Coast.
What is going on? The upset has finally happened. Beast Coast taking out the Tier 1 NA League team, Disrupt Gaming. Jesse and Jacob, you guys didn't predict this to happen at all. You guys said Disrupt Gaming, especially on paper, anybody with more than 2 brain cells would have said DG were going to win in those predictions. But Beast Coast, they proved us all wrong, and they made us believers.
Give me 1 second. I need to let a little bit of this celebration out. Oh my god, what just happened? That's a Tier 1 United States Division team who's faced Space Station, Dark Zero,
How?
TSM, fought so many of them down to the wire. And who takes them out of SI contention? The number 2 team in United States Challenger League. How in the actual hell are we at this stage? How has Beast Coast been hiding this from us this entire time?
It's insane. The Mad Lads, they actually did it. I didn't have faith, I'll be honest, but I'm so happy for the boys on Beast Coast. Really inspiring and impressive stuff. Taking down probably the tournament favorites. That's incredible.
Yo, so Jacob, looking at this team, Beast Coast, it wasn't just one person popping off. It wasn't 2 people popping off. They won as a unit. They won as a team. That was so important for them. What's your takeaway on that?
It's what they had to do to succeed because that's been their MO this entire time. I did say yesterday, a massive key for them needed to be some players coming alive and popping off, showing that they have that kind of clutch potential. But it's not just that one player or even 2 really stole the show. It's that everyone had such consistent stats the whole way through. No one had to be the exact pro player. Look at how even everything is across the board. Anthony, down at the bottom, that's okay. But the rest of the spread for every other member of Beast Coast is so close. The cost rating, not similar across the whole board, doesn't really matter when it's a 4-7 victory.
They won.
And yeah, they won, so who cares? It might look a little bit more impressive on the opposite side, but look at how low the kills are for Disrupt. They are 6, 5, and 5 with Retro somehow at the top of the board with 12, but it's far more balanced for Beast Coast, and that really did show in this game.
No, and Jesse, real quick, take a look at the stats. Look at the difference of opening kills between the 2.
Yep.
You and I on the analyst desk, we spoke about it so much, how Disrupt Gaming, like the early deaths, we're always going to get them. And it's lopsided, dude.
Yeah, I mean, this is another thing, like the big entry player that always like gives the advantage to Disrupt in the opening picks is supposed to be NJR. That is his job, is win those opening picks. And yeah, I guess he went positive, but 2-1, 5-9 overall. Like NJR was asleep this map, and the fact that that sort of led to them losing a lot of these opening engagements, I mean, that's not a coincidence.
I mean, that's pretty much a shame that we have to say that if NJR doesn't have a good day, once again, that's going to be the topic of conversation. 5-9. You expect other people to step up. Retro definitely did an amazing job, especially for the role that he plays. But Jesse, I want you to talk to me about how DG has reacted to all the different looks that BC has given them. They have been smothering them with aggression, different looks, and clutch plays ever since map 1.
Exactly, Valley, and this is the thing that made me pull my hair out for Disrupt Gaming. It's clear that they came into these rounds on Villa with a plan, and there was a strategy there, and they had ideas on how to execute. But when something went wrong, when a roamer slipped through their hands, when they couldn't open a specific wall that they needed to breach, even when they got like a man advantage, but then it just slipped away from them and Ghost made a huge play or something, they fell apart. they stalled out. They didn't get something in return, you know? There were a couple of times, particularly on attack, when they were going for that roam clear and they just either missed out on a roamer and made it a 5-on-5, or even lost that man advantage early on, and they could never recover. They didn't turn that into maybe we hunt a roamer over here. They didn't turn that into, okay, let's shift our focus. That call never got made, and they sort of just stalled, stood around, didn't really know what to do, and that's the biggest issue I've seen with Disrupt over the course of the last few months, and that's just not something that they can have if they're going to the Six Invitational. I know this is the one for Beast Coast, but you've got to look at Disrupt and say, come on, guys, there's some things you've really got to get together here.
Yeah, and it hurts to see this happen for the biggest game this year for them.
Yeah.
This was the most important game Disrupt Gaming has had this year alone, and they dropped the ball. But you know what? Let's not talk about them. This is all about celebrating Beast Coast. Rudy, Sippin, and everyone else on this roster just popping off. Jacob, I mean, you follow. See, you're a CO guy. You know this team. So looking at their journey from where they are now and being one game away, they have a 50% chance of making Six Invitational 2021 at whatever location is going to be in Europe. This is insane.
It is, and it's really, really special to me to see their progression from a team that used to be called Bruh. Their logo was literally a cow stuck in a tire. They used to play in USN 2019. They have a lot of star power that just took this long to finally show its true colors. And if you needed any more proof that Beast Coast are a legitimate team to now be feared, how about knocking off a team in the US division that has all of these fraggers at their disposal? I remember watching them in Challenger League Season 11 at the very beginning of this year. That's when I first started this entire casting endeavor. To now follow their progression all the way to getting an org, to watching them in CL for this season, and now knocking off a team in the USD. I'm on a little bit of a high. I'm kind of fangirling right now, but their job is not done. But at least for right now, boys, get some rest. Go celebrate. I'm so freaking happy that this happened.
I mean, Jesse, like, looking at this, like, even if I was new to Rainbow Six, we cannot ignore the fact they beat a team with pro league caliber players, veterans. They just beat another pro league level team. I mean, Beast Coast, like, the future is obviously bright for them, right? Anthony, Ghost,
Incredibly.
Rudy. I mean, these players are incredible, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice to see as well, because you talk about some of the storylines for these players of Beast Coast. I mean, you've got guys like Ghost, who stuck around in Tier 1 for a while, got knocked back down to Tier 2, been bouncing up and down. I mean, getting this win must be so validating for him. And of course, we talked to him yesterday about how, you know, driven he and the rest of the team are to get to Six Invitational. Even someone like Bozo, I mean, really a storied player who's qualified to Tier 1 before, but then, you know, circumstances happen, he didn't end up playing, and now he's back on a roster that seems so good and has such high potential. I mean, this is so awesome to see from these players that, you know, some of the viewers have been watching for a long time. These are storied players with maybe a lot of ups and downs in their past, and it's great to see them, you know, hitting a high note now.
All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you at home, I have a treat. We have an interview with the winning team, and this specific player, I like him.
Is it what I think it is?
No, it's not who you think it is. It's going to be my man, Fozo.
Okay.
I know you hear me out there. How you doing?
What's going on, Veli? How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm ecstatic. I am happy for this win. No, Fozo, let's keep it real. Do you consider this an upset?
If you're looking at it from Pro League to Challenge League, yeah, but I do think we compare with them pretty well. But things could have went either way, so.
Yeah, so speaking of things going either way, like, let's be completely honest. We take a look at map 1. We were critical on the desk. We were saying, you know, they allowed them to go to Clubhouse. We saw everything pop off with NJR, but you guys kept it close the whole way through. Now, when you lost Clubhouse, I know you guys were in the comms talking about the next map, you know, saying, hey, we're going to take this to 3. What was the mindset? What was said behind the scenes?
Honestly, not much was said. We just kept our heads up and just focused on the next map, and then we just brought it home into Villa.
I'm going to be honest. You're a very cool comic collector for someone that is one series away from going to Six Invitational 2021. Now, there goes the smile.
Trust me,
now,
I'm freaking out inside, but yeah. Gotta keep it cool and
all out,
composed in the
baby.
interview. Yeah,
No.
it's pretty
You
fucking
let
cool,
yourself
but-
out.
Yeah, it's
go.
awesome, but the game's not over yet, so we just gotta focus on the next one.
Yeah. So, speaking about the next one now. You have Altiora, the Canada Division champions, going against Rent Free, the Challenger League champions. You know these teams. Which team do you think is going to advance, and which team would you love to see in the finals?
Who I think is going to advance, maybe Rent Free, but also could be Altiora. But we're probably going to see Rent Free in the finals. And seeing that we played them in the finals and how things went then, hopefully it's a different story this time, but I guess we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, so the journey that you've had with your team, I know it wasn't an easy one. It's definitely a hard one. You guys fought hard to get here. Now, with all that being said, and you guys being one series away from going to Invite, what do you have to say about your teammates, the progression that you guys have had, and what can we look forward to tomorrow?
Just shout out to my teammates. They're amazing. As you can see, they're young gods. They're all 19, 20 years old. Me and Ghost are the old ones that are holding together, but they're a force you reckon with, and hopefully we can make it to Invite.
All right, well, Fozo, listen, I love you, man. I'm happy for you. Get some
Much
good
love.
rest. Eat some good food. Don't celebrate too hard because the job's not done yet. And I'm going to give you the space to say thank you to all the viewers, all the supporters out there in the chat, because I saw them.
Well, thanks to supporters, and I see a couple haters out there too, especially you guys doubting us. But hey, that's fine. We're CL, we're PL. But hey, we're here. We're not going anywhere. So thanks for the support. I'll see you guys later.
All right, Fozo, it wasn't me. It was the analyst, all right? I love you. I believe in you
All right,
guys.
yeah, I'll let this one slide this one time, yeah.
All right, Fozo, you take it easy, man. I'll see you later.
All right, later, Belly. Have a good one.
All right.
Bro, at the very least, you gotta give me credit for saying that they would win one map. Jesse wasn't giving them any chance at the beginning. This is on
That is
him, not me.
disrespectful. You gave him a one pity map. Like,
No,
lost.
it wasn't a pity map. I thought they did good enough against Ape. Listen, Veli, this is not my problem.
That was a pity
Look,
map.
These are some of my guys. I am over the moon pleased that we are able to see this kind of result, and I also love upsets. In the first place, I inherently root for the underdog team, even if my brain says that the guys who are the favorites are destined to win every time. But this is why this kind of competition is always the highest caliber of play. There are so many things that can happen in the space of Siege that it is so unpredictable. We thought Ape was going to win yesterday. Beast Coast knocks him out. We thought DG was going to win today. Beast Coast yet again prove that they are the Titan killers, and they are one series away from heading to Europe to play at the biggest dance of the year. Oh my god, the story writes itself, dude.
I hope they don't get full of themselves or their heads don't get too big, because I want this journey to continue on. But speaking about giveaways, competition, and all that that we had earlier, Jesse, Jacob, I'm gonna leave the floor to you guys. You have something important to say.
Yeah, well, we did a giveaway, of course, on Twitter for a Corsair skin for the MPX. One lucky viewer is going to be able to walk home with that. And we asked the viewers, why are you watching the North American Qualifier? What drives you to, watch these streams and support the players and the teams? And there were a lot of great responses. We couldn't pick just one. I did want to highlight a runner-up who did not win, but my favorite tweet personally. This was a laptop by Fireball Trinity. Mostly I just like that he's showing off to Jacob, look, I've got a Predator laptop, I've got the Corsair mouse as well, and I appreciated that from him. He's really got all the gear and he's watching the stream, so shout out to you, Fireball Trinity. Coming up in seconds. That was a really nice tweet.
Wait,
I like that.
he even has a Corsair
face.
map.
That is
Why does everyone have a laptop and it's not me?
That is amazing. Like,
Why?
literally every sponsor for Rainbow Six he is repping in one picture.
Right?
Like, that is insane. Corsair, Predator, you guys are doing something right out there. The outreach is there. But who won it all?
Okay, well, this tweet does make me angry, but having a whole bunch of sponsors doesn't inherently mean that you win. We wanted to highlight somebody who gave what I thought was a very heartfelt, genuine response, so we opted to go with this one instead. If we can go ahead and transition to learn how more map sense and overall tips on how to succeed and maybe play on this stream one day. So we want to give a heartfelt congratulations to XKs, who you might see on this very stream at some point in the future. Congratulations, you are the winner of our Corsair MPX skin. I'll be reaching out to you on Twitter in just a moment to give this away to you, but to everyone else who's been participating in this giveaway, thank you very much. It's massively appreciated, and I don't believe that's the only time that we will have something to give away, but we will we'll hold that on, or we'll hold on to that for right now and let you know more as the stream continues.
That is such a wholesome winner, right? Like, he just wants to get better at the game and learn. He wants to be just like, his favorite pros. But you know what? I'm going to say it now. after this break, there might or there might not. There's gonna be another giveaway, okay? So make sure you don't go anywhere for too long, because right after this break, we're gonna have Rent Free facing off against Altiora. You don't want to miss it.